first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
To the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021 Grand Finals. I'm your host, Miles Moretti. We are gathered here today to witness 16 of the world's best PUBG mobile teams duke it out to be crowned PMGC champions on the most prestigious stage in mobile esports. And let's not forget what they're competing for. Our champions will claim the lion's share from the $6 million US prize pool. I think it's about time we meet our competitors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your 2021 PMGC Grand Finalists. From the West, we have Chaos Next Booyah, Namas Vincer, Serious Gaming, Alpha 7 Esports, S2G Esports, and Fenerbahce Esports. From the East, we have DWG Kia, D Xavier, least, we have 4 Rivals Alliance! And by special invitation from the Battlegrounds Mobile India Series, Godlike Esports! Many thanks to our hosts, Tencent Games, Crafton, and Lightspeed and Quantum Studios, our tournament organizer, VSPN, and global sponsors, YouTube Gaming and OnePlus, the makers of the OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro, which are tailor-made for gamers with their flagship performance, immersive 120 Hz display, and hyper-touch technology, giving you the edge you need in-game. Thanks as well to our local sponsors, Fairmont Singapore, Singtel, and Singapore Tourism Board, and the Singapore Games Association for their amazing support. Each and every one of them has played a pivotal role in making this momentous occasion possible. We watched as the teams clawed their way to the top in the East and West League finals, but now their true challenge begins. Over the next 3 days, we will witness what the world's best PUBG mobile players are capable of as they finally come head-to-head to find out who will be the next to glory. Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is over. The PUBG Mobile Global Championship Grand Finals begins right now!
Thank you so much, Mr. Moretti. Yes, we are here live for the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021. It is the grand finals, and it's time to find out who our best team in the world will be. We got some special teams coming in from India. Finally, we're getting to see India come back into life here, but it's also time to not only introduce myself, as Mr. Moretti got to be the host there. I'm the guest host, and Jason Cappy, as might recognize me from pretty much any PUBG Mobile event ever happened. Not to toot my own horn. We also have the handsome gentleman to my left. You guys are right. We got Max, man. And we got Seven Worlds Gaming. Max, man. It's been a while since I've seen you in person. Seven, it's been even longer since I've seen you. How you been since, what, a year ago?
Definitely a year. I mean, I've been doing great. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the West teams are going to be able to do in this event, because we've been having a lot of rivalries between East and West. Well, guess what? Now we're going to find the answers. How about you, Matt? East. I'm sorry, Brad. I respect the appreciation given to West, but not it's East.
I mean, that's the question, right? We always talk about East being the most dominating region, but what about Godlike coming in from India? And my boys coming into this one, I'm curious to see if they can live up to the hype we always hear about them, but also, more importantly, it's been over a year since we've seen them play here in an international event. But before we talk really in depth about them, let's update you guys on what's happening throughout these next 3 days. 6 matches a day. Max, quick math, how many matches in total is that?
That's 18.
18, perfect. We did not rehearse good stuff. But of course, at the very end of those 3 days of play, we'll have our champion, who takes home, was it $1.5 million?
Biggest prize we made game, of course, esports for first place. 1.5 million, coming back as a millionaire team by taking first place alone in this tournament. That's just never seen before, and that's a lot of pressure. I mean, 1.5 million, I would feel a little bit stressed at least.
I mean, that's like half Seven's day rate. Seven, I mean, we always get to talk about like kind of the format of the whole thing. Besides the prize pool, which is ridiculous, the point system for me, at least in this last year alone, has given us so many close finals, and I'm expecting it to happen yet again.
It has been so great. I mean, so many things have come down literally to the little final match, the final play. You can be just 1 point away. It can be one elam that separates the teams. It's going to be interesting to see if we're going to see that maybe here towards the end again.
And noticing that maybe that 1 point could be the separation between becoming a millionaire and unfortunately not, or really not becoming a millionaire. We can see our participating teams here in this event. Remember, 16 teams. We have 6 coming in from West. We have 9 coming in from East. We have that special invite for Godlike here. And I mean, off the bat, not to just jump into this, which teams are you really looking out for to perform well in this event?
I did East, so of course I'm going to go with some of the teams from East. The 2 teams that have been extremely consistent, extremely strong throughout the entirety of the PMGC League stage for the Eastern region for me. I have 2 in mind. It's both Infinity and also Star Wars. They're just 2 teams that were consistent. Their fragging potential is absolutely insane. And when it comes to closing off games, which not every single team out of these 16 teams can actually execute well, I think these 2 teams are just miles ahead of the rest and have a really big shot for that first place.
Okay, well, Max, if you're talking about East Team 7, I'm hoping you're going to talk about a couple of West teams for us.
You bet. I'm just going full on West, okay? I'm going to be supporting my boys. And with this one, I mean, the main 2 things I'm going to be looking at, and especially, shout out to Nexria. They were the champions, right, out of West. But I'm going to be looking at what Navi
is going to be doing. I'm also going to be looking at what Alpha 7 is going to be doing. And the reason why I mentioned that, in case you didn't get a chance to see West, they were fighting every single match that we did in Erangel. Their rotations were very similar. So I want to see if now the time that they have had, right, if they're going to be able to readjust to that, if they were able to find different patterns of what Alpha 7 was doing in regards to Navi, and then what Navi was doing in regards to Alpha 7. So it'll be really exciting to see how they're going to be adjusting to, especially the finals. 3 days, 18 games.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, looking at, West in general, it was, the story of West was not about Alpha 7, obviously a little bit of redemption story, especially for Korea coming into this event, but it was the domination of Turkish teams, man. You had Next Korea, you had S2G, you had Fenerbahce. They really put Turkey back on the map, where football has left this kind of giant hole.
Yeah, I think before that we had every single Turkish team qualify from the European PMKL Championship into PMGC Western League stage, so really the Turkish representation right now is at an all-time high, but on this international stage now with teams from the East, can they compete? That's the big question to answer here.
Well, speaking of competing, Damwon, our winners of East, coming in from South Korea, unexpected, I think we should say. No one would have guessed. The team who ended up finishing, well, in what place in East? They were
13th.
Very low down. 13th place to come out first in the finals. Completely unexpected, but I think the real question for them here is, Max, can they do it again?
Hopefully they can do so. I mean, we talked a lot about this one with Kalaris, especially on the East show, and we talked about how dominant the Korean region is as a whole, mainly in PC games. But mobile games, they were not there just yet, but they are stepping up big time. And you had a few individuals that would step up every once in a while and think it potentially back at Forest, who was stepping up sometimes, Sung especially, but now the entire team is performing at a really high level. If we see the same Damwon that what we saw in the league finals, I think they could be a really, really big hassle for all the teams in this lobby. So Damwon, if they can make it happen back to back, that would be a huge step up from the South Korean region.
And Seven, like, this team, they were kind of a letdown in league stage. I mean, I'm not gonna be nice about it. They were definitely a letdown. We saw one chicken dinner early on coming out of Sung, who just snaked it to the very end and won a 1v2. But this team, if we talk about these marathon events, right, where you have 3 weeks to play versus these sprint events, which is just a finals, you're seeing here this team was able to step up like that, especially if you look at Nova last year, did the exact same thing.
Yeah, and something that I really like actually about Damwon is the player Uni. The way he was able to confirm a lot of the damage that he did into actual Illims. I mean, if you compare them, the second place person in regards to Illims, he had 34 Illims, 7,900 damage. Juni was in third place with 5,800 damage and 32 Illims. So those are kind of stats that it's going to propel your team immensely, especially if you maybe have a bad game. You can always count on Juni maybe being able to steal an Illim, something along those lines.
And the question for me is obviously, with it being such a sprinting event, right? 3 days to play, 18 matches in total.
Yeah.
It's about if those teams can have those good matches when they need them. If you're a team that's really inconsistent, you have high highs and low lows, this is an event that can technically work in your favor if you can maintain those high highs, but obviously work against you if you have those low lows. And there's a lot of teams technically with that same kind of pressure. You look at the likes of Infinity as well. Like, I mean, that team was so consistent in league play, and then they go into the finals and they didn't perform up to scratch. But speaking of Infinity, one man who always performs up to scratch, Newsy. We talked about him so many times, Max.
Yeah, Professor Tarzan hyped up the guy before the PMPL League stage, saying that he had the potential of being the MVP, got really close, most of the time fighting it out with some players on Stalwart, especially Action and Top, but Newsy was always on top of his game. But I don't want to give credit to only Newsy, really, because we talked a lot about him, but when you're looking at the entire team, Mela, Logan, got Turney in particular able to clutch out these moments. This is not a team that has only a star player. They have a star player with players behind him that will allow him to just perform so well consistently. I think that right now Infinity is just, as Kalash would say, a full championship caliber team right now, and I think that they might have the chance of being a world championship caliber team here.
What about Timber 7? We had him coming in as well, the MVP from S2G.
I heard you say a championship caliber team. That's what S2G is for me as well. They were that team that was able to flip that switch. They were able to be patient when they needed to be patient, but if they saw a weakness in the team, they were able to just full on attack and make sure they collected those points. So in regards to Timber, I mean, he was able to get great stats, 30 Ilms. He was able to be the best player out of that team. With Alpha 7 here that we have on the screen, a player that I'm going to be calling out right off the bat is actually going to be Carrillo, because we didn't really get a chance to see much of him until the very end during the West. So I would like to see if Alpha 7 is going to be relying a lot on Revo, if he's going to be relying a lot on Mafioso. Luckily for them as well, Senatexa was able to have pop-up moments and clutch moments as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Alpha 7 is going to be doing, especially Carrillo.
All right, well, let's take a look actually at a really cool comparison. I love the idea of this, comparing the league points here between West and between East, or sorry, the finals, I should say. And we can kind of get an idea of like where the domination was. You can see a lot of East teams ranking above the first place team coming in from West. You see Nexria being the first team throughout there, but you have Damwon, DXavier, and Stalwart Esports ahead of them.
Yeah, DXavier also coming in hot with those 5 chicken dinners, of course, coming into that one. DXavier with a big surprise, and I think a lot of people did not expect them to do that well after, well, I would say, a middling performance in the league stage of the Eastern PMGC. It was a little bit of a tough time at the start, but they brought themselves back up in a really good fashion, though DXavier, now my big question mark is if they have a harder time to confirm those wins, which I believe might become an issue for them here, can they still be on the top 3 podium here to try and potentially contest with those top prize pools if they cannot convert those wins? I have a big question mark for DXavier, how they can perform here, so we'll have to see how that's going to potentially pan out in these first few games.
All right, moving ahead, though, taking a look at who our most deadly players were when it came to the Super Weekends and the finals. And when we talked about him before, we got to talk about him again. Well, actually, maybe we shouldn't talk about him since we already did touch on him. Maybe we should talk about the man to our left here, Top. Stalwart Esports, a team, a championship caliber team, hands down. Every single player can pop off, but Top did so.
Yeah. As I called him, a shiny career. Okay, we found a shiny Pokemon over there, it's fine. But yeah, Top and Action are the 2 players. Even though Action is not here, you still got to give credit to the duo that are just incredibly deadly, and Stalwart with Pika being the IGL long-range player, and Scry being the one to create opportunities for the team, finding those off angles and flanks to try and create a good opportunity for Top and Action to perform and get those frags. It's just so well executed every single time. I just love the execution, but on the other side, you have Kelsey here, 7, that is just with the synergy and the experience of Silas brought to the table as just able to step up big time.
Yeah, and just the way they're able to put themselves in the map. They've been doing a lot of middle of the circle engagements.
True.
They're making sure that they always rotate to the middle. They're making sure that they also spread out a little bit. And honestly, with S2G, I know we were talking about this, Max, and I'm going to bring it up right now that we have a little bit of time, is I would like to see how that's going to be playing with the team of the likes of Nova, because Nova tends to play that kind of middle of the pack strat as well. And another thing that we need to mention as well between these 2 teams is SGG has been able to prove that they can play very passive. So who's going to be the most patient team and who's going to be willing to strike at the right time?
Well, speaking of patience, I think that's something Max doesn't have, because unfortunately, every time we do an event, he can never seem to get what he wants out of it in terms of in-game skins. We have the PMGC 2021 special set. It looks phenomenal. I saw Ocean posting over on Instagram earlier on today. Max, I mean, this thing looks sick.
I'll, you know what? I'll try. I'll try and do some pulls tonight. I'll see if I can get it, but my luck has never been good, so it's probably not going to happen. But I'll give it a try.
Yeah, you never got the Tesla, did you?
Come on.
I gotta bring it up. I gotta make him feel bad about it. But to be fair, neither did I, Max. So we can both be sad.
I can give you guys some luck. I actually got it. You know, maybe you guys can
Lucky
give me some
number
luck,
7.
and I can get the new scar skin. It's really, really cool.
Oh yeah. I've seen a lot of people posting about that one. Obviously, make sure to give us some follows here around the board on YouTube or at PUBG Mobile Esports. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have TikTok. You have so many ways to keep up with all the action happening in PUBG Mobile Esports. Even give us a follow, because we also post a little bit about it as well. I'm not gonna promote us as much as I'm gonna promote obviously these channels, but if you want to give us a follow, we won't really complain too much. Yeah, exactly. I wish mine was that easy. But also have the lucky draw going on for you guys as well happening. Also, you even have the PMGC tokens being given away. If you guys remember from the league stage, you guys watch at the time within the Esports Center over on YouTube, you get these tokens that you can use to unlock special items. And we also have a goal we're trying to hit: 1 million viewers. And we'll be giving out quite a few different prizes in particular. You guys are all going to be getting rewards. We'll see. We'll see if you guys are lucky. No, we'll see what happens. But you know what? Considering last year on day 1, we had 3.8 million concurrent viewers, pretty sure we're going to hit that 1 million goal.
I think we're good. I think it should be pretty easy to get there. I don't know. We'll have to ask Blank if we are going to bring back Barky the dog for the viewership. I think that might be something to bring. No, you didn't do World League East. I'm sorry, you won West.
I don't know what that is.
Well, I mean, I did the cool side of it. All right, I did West with 7 and all the awesome group, also awesome crew. But to give you guys an idea what we're going to be playing and when, we're starting things off on Erangel. We're going to have 3 Erangels a day, 2 Miramars, and 1 Sandhawk. So things will be getting hot and moist as well in the middle part of our day.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see which teams are going to have consistency across the most important maps of Erangel and Miramar 7.
See, why you had to throw that one to me? I thought you were going to say Sandhawk. I thought you were going to see Madness. I was thinking already of the hot drop that's going to be happening on Sandhawk as well. But in regards to Erangel, I mean, I kind of have to go back to what I was saying with Navi and Alpha 7. It's going to be very interesting to see how those teams are going to be playing as well. Now, on the top, Thor Severny, they're going to have to worry about Team Secret if Team Secret does decide to drop there. Something that happened a lot to Alpha 7 especially during the West Finals, was that Alpha 7 kept getting caught off guard. They weren't really expecting for a team to still be there. Alpha 7 has been rotating very late as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to adjust to that. And then we have Nova that lands in Gatka, right? If they decide to, we usually tend to see them play mostly middle circle, but let's say we end up getting some kind of crate circle, right? Yeah. And we know the Nova accuracy, we know what Paraboy is able to do, right? If those teams decide to rotate left, or if they maybe get caught in a rotation, it can be very hurtful for them. We only have 18 games. If you have one bad game, that's it's going to be compromising.
Yeah, and out of the 18 games, you only have 3 Sanhok coming in play. My one question I have, Jason, right now is Nigma Galaxy.
All right, Rauf going to be healing out in the blue?
Exactly.
Pretty much guaranteed.
It's what's going to happen.
Taxes and Rauf healing out in blue and get Nigma Galaxy a lot of places.
But a big portion of their points came out from those helos, happening on Sanhok. Yeah. So you only have 3 now. I want to see how much they've potentially evolved on those Irangles, on those Miramars in particular. They did get a win, a very big win actually, in Miramar in the League Finals of East. I want to see a little bit more consistency in those maps, and if so, we could see the Arabic region with Nigma Galaxy step up big time here.
Yeah, and speaking of big-time wins, big-time plays, big shout-out to OnePlus, our sponsor here at PMGC. With the OnePlus 9 Pro, you get 90 FPS ultra smooth gaming. And when you use a OnePlus, you never have to settle. So keep that in mind, as well as a big shout out to Fairmont Singapore for catering PMGC for the highest degree of pampering and 5-star award-winning hotel service. I wish we were there, because that would be great. I know Seven, myself, Max, we'd be sitting there in a chair getting our nails did, getting what, a pedicure it's called. I've never had one of those. I get a tan most likely as well when it's snowing here in Berlin, which is where we're currently doing the show from. But guys, I mean, we're almost actually about to kick off our first match here, and I'm getting really excited, really pumped up for a couple of teams in particular, and I want to start to focus a little bit more on them. I want to start things off talking about Godlike. Yeah, team from India coming in from BGIS. They have not played in an international competitive event like this since 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that's how long it's been. The drought has been a very long time for teams from this region. They have so much pressure on their shoulders, but the upside for them is in 2019, they played in the PMCO global finals for the fall split. Yeah. They're used to this kind of pressure. They're used to playing at this kind of caliber. They have 3 players returning from that, with Clutch God coming in from Team Seoul, who did play as well in there. This team has the weight of an entire country on their shoulders, and we know how passionate the Indian fans are. We know how strong India is in general when it comes to PUBG Mobile as a region. But the problem is they haven't had a lot of time to prepare for this event. Yeah, that's the thing. Odds are stacking somewhat against them because they didn't have time to prepare that much. They also had to travel. So the last time it got a little bit complicated on their side, and of course the drought you just mentioned there, Jason, that makes it a little bit hard for them to try and potentially get that experience. But they did in the past. Back in 2019, they had some really good results. They're coming back in the scene. I said it, the top 5. If they make it a top 5 here, I would be genuinely impressed, because this is going to be a really rough tournament for them. So we'll see if they can make it. I'm not even going to be impressed if they get top 5. So I'd be like, yeah, just another day at the job for them. And speaking of Godlike, go ahead. With really Godlike, quick. I was actually going to mention Clutch God. You mentioned him. He used to play with Team Seoul. That team didn't really do so well. We expected a big hype for Clutch God, and it just didn't happen. It seemed maybe the pressure of being on the big major event kind of crumbled him a little bit here. Now he has a lot more experience. He's been able to play with this team for now more than 2 years. So it's going to be very interesting to see if finally, right, we had so much expectation out of Clutch God, if finally we're going to be able to see it. And then how is he going to be working together with Jonathan? Because we know Jonathan, at least for me, he's one of the best players out of India. So I'm going to be excited to see if they're going to be fragging out, how they're going to be able to work together as well as a duo. Yeah, well, that is why, for me, as we just talked about, why, in my particular opinion, Godlike is a team to watch here over the course of the event, especially in this first match. I want to see how they start things off, how they get things going. And on the note of Clutch God, I mean, he's in the same boat as Frozen from Next Korea. At least he was back then, right? There's so much hype around this player as an individual. Clutch God, unfortunately, didn't live up to the hype then. But speaking of hype, Max, which team are you looking out for to watch? I mean, I already talked about Star Wars. You know, this is a team that I think could be going for that first place, getting that 1.5 mil. They just have everything ironed out to perfection. So Star Wars is going to be the one that I'm going to be supporting until the very end, and hopefully they can make it go really far. I would like to see minimum a podium finish. Okay, so Godlike for me, Stalwart for you. Seven, who do you got?
Do Brazil.
Come on.
Come on. You know I had to go with Alpha 7 for all the stuff that I've been mentioning in regards to Navi, how they're going to be adjusting. And this is a team that can definitely carry momentum. And if they can start hot, I would love to see how they're going to be able to carry that momentum.
I mean, they dominated I mean, I think dominate is an understatement when it came to PMPL Brazil, right? They were the most formidable force coming out of that region. And in particular, you have Senatexa, you know, he actually played back in 2019. He's here yet again on the big stage. Carrillo's back from last year, who's looking to redeem himself and obviously help take Alpha 7 to the next level. If you guys watch Between the Battlegrounds, well, if you haven't, you need to go watch it. But you get to hear about Carrillo and talking about the problems they've had within the team and him trying to help step back up for themselves. And speaking of stepping up here, we're going to step up the hotness game on the show. We're going to bring our commentators in for the first time of the day for the first 3 matches. Necro, Mustache, Dave, take it away, boys.
Hey, thank you, Jason, Maxman, and Seven. Beautiful work. What an amazing day here. We got 18 games, Necro. Are you pumped up?
Oh, dude, is that even a question? Definitely pumped up, man. I mean, the first game of the Grand Finals. Dave, we have been waiting for this moment for a long time, without a doubt.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. PUBG Mobile Global Championship Grand Finals. We got the best teams and players in the world right now. Nova Esports Paraguay, Godlike Esports Jonathan, Alpha 7, Carrillo, Stalwart Esports Action. 9 teams from the East, 6 teams from the West, 1 team from India. Best of 18. It all starts now. Necro, let's get into the game.
Oh man, it all definitely starts now, and playing flat path as well, starting all the way from down south. This is going to be an interesting one, Dave. I can already tell the hotness in the military base. I can already tell it, man. Stalwart Esports, we of course know they like to drop it over of Doi. Now, if you talk about a lot of drop clashes coming inside the map of Rango, I mean, the only drop clashes that I'm really going to be witnessing over here, it has to be like Navi and Alpha 7. Because of the playing flat path as well, I do want to see what kind of improvisations these teams are going to be showing.
Oh, we are talking about it. Talking about the plane path, man. All the way down here towards the south. Yeah, I agree with you. It will kind of force these teams to some uncomfortable positions that they might not be used to with their tried and true drop spots. One in particular, you talked about Navi. Look at this, kind of spread out there on that west side. They are going to have to possibly get to early engagement, but circle number 1. Yeah, circle number 1. It can't be any better, all things considered, with this plane path.
Oh, dude, a complete southern circle. That means teams like Stalwart Esports, they're going to be favored here big time, including Infinity and Navi as well. Now, if you talk about improvisations, Navi, I mean, if you've never seen them drop over there, Dave, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm sure they got some practice. You know, they are a world-class team, right? And I do like this position that Navi are going to be holding down because of the zone. Now, if the zone would have shifted up there towards the north, where they would have to quickly loot and then rotate on out of that current spot on that west side of the military base island, I would be a little concerned. But now, I feel like they have quite the advantage because they can get that loot, and they could possibly, Necro, set up a beautiful bridge camp out there on that west bridge and possibly get some early game elim points here, which could, you know, do wonders for them.
Oh, dude, that's definitely going to be doing a lot of wonders, especially trying to hold off a team like STG that's going to be trying to make it in on the left side of the bridge. That's going to be quite interesting. Now, if you talk about rocket starts, you know, if you talk about boosters on the overall rankings, you've only got 3 days to work with, 6 games each day. And now, if you talk about booster starts, STG has to be one of those teams that are really good in those couple of initial days. But if you talk about some good things, some good shots kind of taken on himself and 4 rivals, not really looking that great for now. One man taken down quite low, and he's also getting pushed on by CC.
Yeah, looks like we got a classic 2v1 here. 4 rivals about to lose one. Oh, make that a 3v1. Oh, I shot pulling up with that UMP. Looking to get, I believe this is the first elim of the tournament. So there we go. The match has officially started here, Necro.
The first blood, man. The first blood. Not going to be happy after that one. 4 rivals. They're definitely going to be having a little bit of sad aura on their team. But it's fine. They still have 3 players to work with them. We've seen in the past as well. Sometimes the trio can make a lot of things happen, Dave.
Yeah, and right there, the PMGC token, like Jason mentioned, we're going to hit 1 million viewers, and everybody going to be getting them nice, juicy rewards. Now, getting back to the game, we got Fenerbahce. At least one of my favorite players, the Duke and Machine. We can see him out there in that buggy with that nice rotate. Action, though. Action. Going for some shots with the M4. Connecting. And keep in mind, connecting on a moving motorcycle. Action has to be one of my favorite players also from Stalwart. One of the strongest players, in my opinion. We saw them from their respected region able to get a ton of elim points and put in a ton of damage. I really like Action and Top. That duo right there is definitely a duo to keep your eye on this tournament.
But gotta say, Fenerbahce definitely got nerves of steel to pull off something like that. Just to sneak past through Stalwart Esports noses like that. Oh, that's a bold move. And that's going to be paying off quite well in the future as well. And now if you talk about Stalwart Esports, man, I've got a huge history behind this team. Coming inside, first time I saw them in the PMP Season 3. Actually, no, scratch that. I saw them in the wild card, in the PMC wild card playing. I was like, all right, this team has a lot of caliber. Then later on moved in the PMPL Season 3. They absolutely dominated that as well. And then even in the SA Championship, dominated that as well. And back in the day, they were known as like the Astro Academy, right? And then later on, coming inside in the future, they got signed by Stalwart Esports, and now we're here, Dave. Now we're
here. They're here.
They are, they're literally one of the best teams out there.
The best lobby in the world, too, right now. The top of the competition. I love how you said it. Now they're here. They legit started from the beginning. And another kind of interesting kind of note about Stalwart in particular, just looking at the East League, they were, if not one of the most consistent teams when it comes to Erangel. Now, I'm bringing that up because we only got 18 games. Okay, hear me out. We only got 18 games. Erangel makes up 50% of those games. What are your thoughts, man? Stalwart Esports, where do you see them performing here? With that in mind, with that knowledge that I just laid on you.
Now, look. Not just Stalwart Esports, there are a couple of teams that are really good. I would say pretty consistent on each and every single map. So we cannot rule out Stalwart Esports just like that. Yeah, I do understand they have one of the most consistent rate, coming inside the grand finals as well. So I would say Stalwart Esports, they're definitely going to be one of those teams. Like, at least we're seeing top 3, man, inside the Erangel, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. I'm a true, I'm one of them dudes that I like to look at the numbers. I like to crunch them, and I like to base my opinions on these numbers. So that's why when I was looking at Erangel, and with that in mind of it being 50% of the map pool, I also had to kind of turn my eyes to the West League to look who's the most consistent over there. And there was one team that popped up as far as consistency on every single map. Erangel, Miramar, and Sanok. Guess who that team is from the West League? Do you have a guess? Alpha 7, yes. Alpha 7 were, if not the most consistent team from the West League here. And I gotta say, 7 from the desk picked them not only because they have a 7 in their name, but 7 knows for a fact that this team is definitely going to be giving it their all here in this lobby, along with all the other squads, of course. But if I had to pick, this is where I was going with this. If I had to pick a team as well, it's going to be up there at the top. The Mustache Dave pick has to be Alpha 7.
And hey, we also got to talk about the team from India, man. Godlike. Now, let's set some light on this. I'm pretty sure the analyst desk did a really good job on pretty much, just taking out the history for how long it has been. They haven't really, been in this kind of a competition. So, I mean, I do understand it's going to be a huge change in the pace as well for Godlike. So, what do you think so, man? Is the adaptive nature going to kick in right now? Or is it going to be, maybe tomorrow?
So, Godlike might not have a lot of time to really, hone down, practice, get comfortable. So, I think it's not going to hurt them too much because I feel like a lot of teams have the same nerves, right, coming into the day. And we can kind of see it. They're playing a little slower. They're not all just rushing to a spot, somewhat center, especially the teams up north. They're taking their time to rotate. They're just waiting to see where this next zone goes. So I think Godlike can kind of play that into their advantage, right? They know for a fact other teams are going to be playing slow, trying to get a little loose, a little comfortable. And I think day one, if I'm Godlike, I'm just looking for consistency. And what I mean by that is, constant placement points every single game with a couple elim points, right? Just get a good foothold on the overall leaderboard so that day 2 and 3, you can really run with it.
Yeah, but from what I saw in the BGIs, Dave, is that Godlike is one of those teams that is really kill hungry, right? They go for those kills. They're kind of like an aggressive team, which is understandable. But yeah, as you mentioned over here, consistency is what really matters, and you need to go for those placement points as well. Just kills points isn't going to seal it. You need those placement points as well to try and make your mark on top of the leaderboard. But yeah, we also do have the next circle shifting in, and I do really like Fenerbahce's position.
Fenerbahce straight chilling out there. We also got Furious Gaming making the swim. S2G are going to be braving it to send it across this bridge. Nice strat. Remember earlier on, I was kind of calling for Na'Vi to possibly be able to gatekeep this bridge, but instead of gatekeeping this bridge, it looks as if Na'Vi kind of sent it down to the south of the island. So they're going to be playing this one a lot safer, trying to avoid those early skirmishes. Very interesting play, but we might have a potential fight over here on this bridge after all, because now Nova are going to be trying to drive on through here.
Oh man, they're going to be having a clear pathway for sure, because H2G as well is trying to play for their survival. We do see Solid Spew kind of closing his distance, but again, shouldn't really be that big of a threat for Nova. So for now, things are going to be looking quite calm. But as I mentioned, Fenerbahce's position definitely
Dead center.
kind of in the, they're like right in the center of the zone as well. And Godlike now going for that late rotation in the southern circles. Now, if you talk about West Side, Dave, we do know Na'Vi is one of those teams that do like to go for those late rotation in these military-based circles, and it never pans out for them.
No, so we'll definitely keep tabs on them here in game number one. I'm looking at Godlike too. I mean, we caught a glimpse of Godlike. It looks like they were trying to be a little aggressive, but that was up against A7, so we'll have to get back to that one. Looks as if both teams kind of backed off from each other for the time being. And that's kind of the story that we are seeing for a lot of these teams here early game, is that they would see each other and then try to back off. They don't want that smoke. But talking about wanting that smoke, the boat taint, yeah, the failed boat taint out there on that west side of the coast. So Na'Vi, they didn't bridge camp, but they are doing a good job of trying to pick up whatever type of elim points they can out there on that coastline.
Oh, dude, Na'Vi definitely just beaming him out the water, man. Unfortunate, the boat just blew up, and 6-8. Not going to be happy after that. Losing 2 players already inside the game. Definitely going to be having those sad faces. But yeah, Na'Vi, I do like the huge improvement that Na'Vi has shown. They're already on the military island. They're kind of looking good. Tixie all the way on the south side. A huge separation, but still, they have a lot of time to work it out. But DX making full rotation out in the open, taking a little shots from Nova. Nova as well, making sure that DX not going to be stopping by anywhere near.
Looks like Nova Esports is going to be picking up a nice little compound here. 3-1 split. They got 3 squad mates out there on that west side, and then Border still kind of straggling in the back line over there. They were taking some shots at DX as they did casually pass by on that high ground. For the time being, though, it's all about getting these early game positions, especially with this military-based zone. And you were looking at Fenerbahce. They were somewhat dead center. Next circle is going to shift here very shortly. Let's see, will it play into their favor? Stalwart Esports, too. I like that spot all the way up there at that radio tower, the highest vantage point here. Will it pay off? We'll find out right now. Oh,
it does. It does. H2G and Fenerbahce right in the center of the zone. Fenerbahce having the majority of the center, but again, the split is good, but if even one of the players gets bought out, and even if he gets taken out, that's going to be quite a huge task for Fenerbahce to go back to that player and get the rest back up. So I feel like at this point in time, they should be a little gathered up. Maybe a 2-2 split can work out pretty well.
Juan out here trying to defend here on the cliff lines. Team Secret looking like they're going to pull up. So far, it's a 2-2 split, but the other 2 squad mates in the back lines trying to group up. Eye shots, though. Mini in hand, applying that pressure. Here we go. First fight, first 4v4 of the game.
Oh, here we go. A kill already found. Jumper being taken out. Instantly gets confirmed as well. Fredo has a little bit of disadvantage with that low crowning. He gets taken out as well. And now shots. Oh, he's taking some shots from the left side. He needs to watch out because Junie has a huge advantage. Also with that high crowning. Shots doesn't really have a good positioning. Just has that wiggle to work with and gets blown to smithereens. Just like that now. He's been taken out of the game. And that's going to be it for Team Secret.
Wow.
Eliminated, Dave. The first team to get eliminated in the first game.
Wow. Yep. My Don too. One of the teams definitely showing up here from their region, cashing out, looking to continue trucking along with that momentum. And we were looking at Godlike a couple moments ago as they were crashing out there in the distance. Looks like Alpha 7 might have caught a whiff of a squad back here. They're going to be setting their flag right now on the beaches in the terrain. They are looking to just stay back here and get these elim points. Looks like they'll be camping this one out.
Oh, they have to. Because, I mean, A7 clearly knows that they have the prime positioning inside this fight. They can just try and hold up Godlike. But that's a beautiful knockout found in the A7 involved. 4 rivals just making that rotation. They were like, all right, this is our right moment to go in. And they just sneak past through Alpha 7. Alpha 7 with that knock being found, kind of bought enough time for Godlike to make that push happen. And here we do have Clutch God as well falling down in that push.
Wow, Carrillo, what a great anchor position. They were in the back lines, pretty much playing oversight of their 3 squad mates that were pushed ahead, and it looks like it paid off. But let's see, though. Jonathan went for that wide rotate. Now he's going to be inside the smokes, looking to toss this grenade, looking to get a couple confirmed. Kaboom goes Jonathan right there with the double.
Oh, that's filthy. That's disgusting. Both the teams have 3 players knocked out, but unfortunately, Godlike, they're only left with 1 man standing. Same thing goes with Alpha 7. But now Jonathan gets Neo back up on his feet. That's going to be sigh of relief for him. Godlike now. Jonathan especially looking to confirm the kill and trying to take out the final man as well. That's going to be his main goal. But guess what? The reply comes in through from the side of Carrillo. Carrillo as well is one of those players. He's one of the best out there. You can't just challenge him like that.
Yeah, Carrillo is in the back line, though. So best case scenario for Carrillo, try to avoid the sight lines and just survive at this point. They do not want to get taken out right here, right now, because a 14th position in Game 1 would net them 0 points, and that is not how Alpha 7 want to start this. But huge props to Jonathan right there. That double grenade definitely turned the tides for Godlike.
Oh, that did. That was a disgusting night, without a doubt. H2G. 7 just kind of driving off the compound, did realize it's already being occupied by Fenerbahce. So not interested in taking it. Fenerbahce doing a good job. Rebellion as well, trying to secure the vehicle, just making sure the tires aren't being popped off, but gets shot from the back. And here comes the push from Nextria. There's a huge charge in, and Fenerbahce seems like they're crumbling down slowly and steadily. 2 players already being knocked out. Nextria have 2 players knocked out as well on their side. You want to see how this fight's going to be panning out, and now it's all down to Duke and Machine.
It's up to the Duke and Machine, the Duke and Master with the grenade, trying to get that to that little window. Overshot it just a little bit. Does look like their teammate was able to pop into their compound, looking to get that revive. And here comes Noxbomb with the support here. Looks like the revives were successful on the next Rhea. Let's see, though. Noxbomb has a lot on their plate. They need to clutch this one out.
Oh, they do need to clutch this one out, but third party from Stalwart Esports. It's Pika who takes out Noxbomb. Duke and Machine again. Rebellion. These 2 players are alive. Duke and Machine, we do know what this man is capable of. He can pull off some insane clutches, but again, he's kind of like that man who likes to stay as squad as possible, but that beautiful nade is going to be taken out. Rebellion is also getting burnt down with that Molotov. That's not a good sign for Fenerbahce. Things are slipping out of their hands.
Yeah, next Rio, they were able to get the full reset over here. 4 squad mates up, pretty solid compound. This building, this area, dead center. Let's see, Duke and Machine back against the wall, getting collapsed in on right now. UMP in hand, no chance.
That drop shot.
No chance right there. Next Rio, taking that compound from Fenerbahce.
Uzi is just too good in those close range. Just an absolute shredder. That drop shot as well, just in the mix. Oh, it's just kind of like a sprinkle of salt on top of it. But yeah, now we have Enigma Galaxy, another one of those teams that I have definitely eyeing out for. Nova as well, having pretty decent positioning inside here. Hamoudi in the front lines of Nova. King and Powerboy just trying to hold him off at bay.
Really do enjoy what Nova Esports have been doing this whole game with these splits here. So now they're going to be separated for the time being. But Don Juan still out here just destroying the edge right now of the play zone, hugging it. 5 elim points so far this game here. Necro, talk about starting strong. That's exactly what they are doing. And if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much the same story that they did during the East Final Championships. They started early with a chicken dinner and 19 elim points over there in those finals. And from there, they just maintained it. So if they can get that same start here, not one, we might be looking at a possible championship top 5 team.
Oh man, the next circle shift is going to be just such a huge thing, right? It's going to be moving out in the open. Trust me, it is, and yes, it does. And now the only teams are in. They have a couple of components on their name, but they're the only going to be the lucky ones. Down1 Gaming, it seems like they're just getting absolutely demolished by Na'Vi because Na'Vi has huge high ground. With the high ground, they have also gotten a huge advantage over Down1 Gaming. So Down1 Gaming, they will need to try and take care of Na'Vi if they want to make it out of this tricky situation. And for that, they will need to find another knockout that will buy them enough time. But the nade from Tixi will keep Sung down.
Ooh. They need to clean this one up quick, too, if you are Don1, because you are about to be pinched from Nova Esports from behind. So hopefully they have their head on a swivel and they don't just get sandwiched here.
Oh, man, Tixi is still just looking to inflict pain. And I do also see Nova kind of closing their distance onto them. And yes, Nova is looking to third party this entire situation. Paraboy in the front has a nade cooked up. And this nade might just be $1 million nade, but no, instead it was a little underhand. Just kind of understandable. Did not really make it up to the mark. 4 is still knocked down for Down1 Gaming, including Junie. Fabian, I can just imagine this man's nerves right now. They're probably rattling. And just like that, Down1 Gaming as well get eliminated.
Done. And Na'Vi, they do have the high ground, but they also have that little dip in the terrain up there that's really helping them keep their sight lines low from Stalwart in the back line. But after that one push, they were able to get a couple elim points, and they started to pull back because they recognize that there is another threat downhill. And that little dip that I was just talking about, it might be their demise, actually, because Stalwart, they reposition, and now they have sight lines on that dip. So Na'Vi, nowhere to go.
Oh, Na'Vi, definitely nowhere to go. They did get themselves decent amount of elim points, if I'm not wrong, from that previous fight, but still, now, because the circle moves out in the open, they will have to move from cover to cover. And just like that, not enough cover, indeed. And Nova going to be catching a little glimpse of Na'Vi. Xavier as well, if I'm not wrong, it's just going to be it. He's trying to just survive for as long as possible with those meds, but not going to be able to make it for that long. Mela gets his game spot from the back, and it's going to be Xavier who does that.
See ya. See ya. 7 teams to go. Nova Esports, we can see right there, 7 elim points. Stalwart Esports, 6 elim points. So Nova, they've been playing that west side. Stalwart Esports have been playing that east side of these zones. They're about to meet here very shortly. I do see Top, I do see King kind of up close and personal with each other, but right now the main focus has to be this next circle. Where will it go? Who will be favored? I'm looking at next Rio. They got a compound. Will it be favored? If so, they're going to have a huge advantage.
Oh, man, but still the circle out in the open like that, and now favoring next Rio as well. Kind of favoring, not really. They're kind of like on the edge of the zone, but still they have the only compound inside the zone as well. So next Rio, they are going to be having huge side relief after that zone shift. But Noah, do you realize there's a team in the front? Need to watch out because it's Stalwart Esports as well. It's not just any other team. One of the best teams out there. Noah as well. We can't really underestimate them for sure. So this is going to be definitely a clash of titans.
Chilling. Down there in the bottom right-hand corner. Chilling. Talk about snaking it to make it. Talk about looking for them placement points here. Oh, I hope this pays off for him. But one of the main
just
fights...
taking a nap.
Just taking a nap.
Yeah, dude.
One of the main fights. We got 2 main fights, actually. You got Nova Esports Stalwart up there towards the north. And now S2G crashing next Ria's compound.
Oh, dude. They do realize the prime compound. And S2G is one of those teams that will not back out without a fight. Oh, I thought this nade might just do it. Yes, it does. Confirms the elim. That's going to be a huge thing for them next Rio. Still having the prime positioning inside this fight, and S2G having all the disadvantage in the world. This nade might be good. Oh, did not really make it to the mark.
What a call, though, from next Ria to be able to decide to take this compound towards that mid-game. They snatched it away from Fenerbahce, now in this next zone, but they will have to defend it from 2 sides now because here comes Furious pulling up.
Oh, dude, Furious Gaming as well. It seems like they want a little bit of piece of compound. So they as well is just going to be charging in. Next Ria trying their best to defend this from 2 teams. S2G and Furious Gaming now. Next Ria, they are one of those teams that are pretty good as well, so we cannot underestimate them for sure. But S2G realizing the same fact, and now they're also trying to push in a little bit more. This means next Ria are getting sandwiched, Dave.
S2G, they play this one so slow, so methodical. They recognize the push from the opposite end from Furious, and that was the time that they decided to make the collapse. And now it looks as if they might come on top because Yakita really low in the health department, below 50% HP, looking to pop one of these heals. But look at this, S2G, they're actually going to use this time to get a revive. So they're going to have 3 up here late game. That's huge.
Oh, he also lobbed in a nade inside the check. That means he will have to move out, and he does. Confirming the elimination as well. Next 3 are now eliminated out the game. Only top 3 teams left, Dave. Oh my god, I can already feel my adrenaline rush over here.
Look who's still alive from Enigma Galaxy, by the way. Look who's still alive, getting those placement points. 3rd place, 10 points confirmed. So that is huge, considering they have no elim points. But Stalwart, 11. Circle shift, listen, 11 elim points, okay? And now the circle shift, so they have that north to kind of play with and move around. Meanwhile, S2G, they're going to be locked behind these walls, so it's going to be a challenge for them to push out. And not only that, look at Stalwart. They're 2-2 split. They got 2 on the high ground, 2 in this dip up close and personal. Looks like they'll be pulling back action here. They recognize their advantage, but 3 teams to go, Necro.
Yeah, I do like what Stalwart Esports is trying to do with your action. Of course, the man who likes to play on the front foot, and the rest 3 players are going to be on the back on the high ground. That means they're going to be having so much visual info to work with, as Stalwart Esports are just simply going to dominate it the way they're playing. If they don't make any rookie mistakes, without a doubt, Stalwart Esports will dominate this final zone. But H2G as well, they have 3 players alive.
I like how you put an action in the front line, kind of that Terminator, that one that seals the deal, has their teammates above them playing oversight, making sure that they stay alive. And now it looks like they're going to be sending top down here, so they'll be working in tandem. Timber was connected on Silas behind the tree. Oh, it all comes down to this for game number 1.
Oh, it all does come down to this. Every single player sweating inside the lobby. And so does Stalwart Esports and H2G, but H2G a little bit more pressure added on their side as 2 players already taken out the game, and now Hamoudi as well. Seems like he's finally woken up from that nap. And well, guess what? Who takes it? Who backs the first game? It's gonna be Stalwart Esports.
Let's go! Game number 1, Stalwart coming on top, not only with that winner chicken dinner, but a ton of elim points. Hamoudi though, hey, shout out to Hamoudi. 2nd place, I'll take that all day long as a solo snake, trying to avoid those sidelines, trying to play nice and sneaky. That is 12 placement points in 1 game. That's solid.
Huge. That's huge, dude. That's huge. If they're able to just play like that, play consistent, even able to get those consistent placement points, I mean, for a start of game, that's absolutely not bad. And if we talk about late rotations again, I mean, Godlike making the same kind of mistake, in these kind of southern zones, you always got to be those teams that are pretty quick to rotate. If you're not able to do so, you're just going to be held back, and that's what exactly happened. Alpha 7 was just hammering the pain into them.
Yo, what? Shout out to everybody watching right now, by the way. PUBG Mobile Global Championship Grand Finals. You tuned into the right stream. We got 17 more games to go. Stalwart coming on top right there. At this Zoom, they are going to be getting a massive point lead. Not only the point lead in number 1 game, but also a confidence booster. We don't talk about this a lot, but that stress, right? Just imagine the stress levels on all these teams. For them to be able to come into this lobby, the most stacked lobby of the year, and come out on top, that is phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, that was game number 1. Let's hear what the desk got to say about this first game. Over to you.
Well, you know what we have to say? I think Maxman was wishing we were doing predictions, not teams to watch, because he gets a prediction right. But let's be honest, boys. The guys from Mongolia coming in, taking a chicken dinner with that many eliminations, they've proven they've shown up to play.
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why you have to look out for this team. They survive until the very last minute as a 4-man squad. They got themselves 14 eliminations on the very first game that they came to play here, Seven. They came here to play big time.
The way they were able to eliminate 4 rivals. I mean, 4 rivals that they were trying to pass that bridge, and Stalwart Esports was just able to hold that ground, hold that bridge camp. And then as soon as they were able to do that, the next circle popped up and they moved right away. So their communication is on point, and this is something that you were telling me, right? Yeah. They don't miss in regards to anything. I was actually really surprised too that how they were able to beat Nova. I thought maybe King from Nova was going to be able to surprise them a little bit. That backfired. King said, you know what, let me just double think that. No, I'm going to go back, and he didn't even try to challenge it. Ultimately, he ended up hurting Nova.
See, I think for me, the most impressive fact about Stalwart is the fact that this is a team coming from Mongolia, right? We had Zeus Esports last year come in 3rd place. But you have this team who has really no international experience go into the global championship in the league stage and surprise us. But then to go into the finals and do something like this in match 1, they're saying to every team out there, like, You want that $1.5 million? You got to come for us. You got to come through us if you want to get it. And we can see here 29 points in match 1. That is a phenomenal start.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about this also, right? You had some teams that did maybe poorly into the league stage, did really good into the finals.
Yeah.
This is part of the few teams that got themselves to third place in the league and also in the league finals for the Eastern region. And that consistency is definitely paying off. I had the chat with Senator, the coach of the team, and he said, we're going for that first place. And Dodoy, of course, they're going to go for that first place with that first performance here.
And 7, I think one thing you have to keep in mind of is the amount of teams we did see S2G and Na'Vi come in from West, able to perform when they need to here. There's a lot of questions around West if they compete with East, and we already see 2 teams able to do so.
Yeah, I mean, with S2G, I was even mentioning, that's one team that definitely has championship caliber for me, the way they're able to play, the way they're able to be patient, and the way they were able to kind of control that circle there too. Same with Nextria. I felt like Nextria positioned themselves really well. Ultimately, it just ended up backfiring for them. But the fight against the Fenerbahce, that was a great fight. I think Nox was able to rotate late, right, Max? I know you want to talk about this one.
I want to jump on that one. When you're looking at Fenerbahce, they had such a good position. I think it was around phase 4, phase 5. They had a huge 4-man split, and they had a position advantage to get into that compound instantly. They took too long, and they left Nox in a scouting position that you do not need a scout anymore when you have a strong position like that, and they just got breached upon by the side of Nextria. It was so easy to execute. Fenerbahce, a little bit of a change towards the end there. That could have been their win on that first game.
Yeah, also important to see that Order was the MVP, and we talk about, teams now in PUBG Mobile 2021 going into 2022. It is so important to have a team of all-stars, and we always talk about Paraboy, but we've seen Order step up, we've seen King step up, we've seen even QC be thrown into the team in the midst of league stage into the finals, able to step up, and it's a great sign for Nova, who are the defending champions.
Definitely. I mean, another one that I know we saw Nova there, but S2G. We always talk about with them.
Back to West teams.
Great, but let's talk about S2G.
I want to stick to my West teams, right? I know you guys are going to be pulling for those East teams. I'm going to be sticking to the West teams. And you know what? Let's even skip that. Let's go to Godlike. I feel like we had to talk about that. Alpha 7, they were trying to bridge camp Godlike, and it absolutely backfired thanks to Jonathan. We were mentioning he is just such a great player, and he's able to clutch up when he's needed to clutch up, and he was able to do that perfectly there. Sadly, it didn't end up working out ultimately because they ended up losing before Alpha 7 went out. But overall, it's at least some elims and some points that are going to count towards them.
The important part, though, for me in that is that Godlike are showing they're not afraid of any team, right? They're going to go up against Alpha 7. They're going to fight against pretty much one of the best teams from the West and be able to do a decent job. And Jonathan's showing he still has that all-star power. Yeah,
they were just ready to go for the full push onto Alpha 7. That was very impressive. Jonathan able to get a somewhat clutch towards the end. He was able to get Neo back on his 2 feet, which is a really good play. But I think that, of course, this is a team that, because they don't have that international experience for a long time, the more games they're going to have, the more experience they're going to get, and they're going to change and adapt extremely quickly. So this first game, they're going to adapt, they're going to tweak things, and they're going to come back into the next wrangle even stronger.
Okay. Well, what about maybe some teams that maybe let you down, not in a super negative sense, but like for instance, Damwon, they were our finals champion of East. They didn't perform too well there at the very end, but they still had a decent showing. But it's not the team that we kind of would have expected after the results from finals.
Damwon is an interesting one on this game because they were trying their best to go for the swim rotation. They were trying to avoid the bridges, which is understandable, right? Because you have so many teams that have as a speciality to hold the Western Bridge or the Eastern Bridge. Here they just tried to go for full stack, swim over, and unfortunately doing so, you just lack information. They went right into Na'Vi, right into Nova, and it just went downhill from there on out.
In regards to teams that actually didn't perform that well, I want to talk about Team Secret. They ended up losing to Damwon. I felt like their rotation, their push towards Damwon, it was just something that I didn't expect out of the team. It looked sloppy, the way they were able to rotate. Even one of the players, he decided to push in with a buggy. The buggy pretty much ended up going over the hill as well, and it put him in a position where he wasn't able to fight. You could see him trying to jump back in the buggy, maybe being able to shoot from the passenger seat, but nothing worked out there for Team Secret.
Yeah, but it is just match 1, and Team Secret luckily do have 2 players who have played in every single final so far yet with Ice Shots and Mad Toy, dating back to 2019. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. We're going to actually do a little quick recap here. I'm not sure exactly what team it's going to be, but one thing I am sure of is you two are going to kill it talking about it.
That looks like the Kendi, man. I feel bad. I was like, bro, there's snow on the map. What's going on right now? But no, we're going to be having a little quick recap about what's happening so far. And the team I think we're going to be focusing on, we're going to see which one are we focusing on right now.
I think it's Stalwart.
Stalwart, yeah. Okay, so their usual drop that's going to go into Novo. Of course, having that sort of Nufka finish from the very get-go made it a lot easier. You don't have to cross those bridges. No need to cross that river. You're going to have a very easy time to get there. But the one thing I love, Seven, and we talked about that extensively during that game, was how they were not willing to push that compound early on because they knew that was going going to be hot waters. That was going to be super contested. Just hold the northern side, wait for the circle to close off when all the teams already took that fight, and then you go for the push towards the end to get that win.
Just their timing right here. This is the main one that I wanted to talk about. Just the way they were able to surprise 4 rivals right there, being able to execute that so well. And something that I actually wanted to talk in regards to Stalwart Esports is they ended up with 14 illums, right? When we go to their healing, they only had 14 healing, and we saw them take so many engagements. That speaks volume of their positioning. They're being able to put themselves where they want to be. They're being patient as well, but when they need to strike, they're definitely striking. So Stalwart Esports, I mean, after that one game, boy, I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are currently watching are going to have them as favorites.
So I think for me, Max, looking at this, right, obviously they dropped in the perfect position for the way the zones did shift.
Yeah.
I think what's important to notice is that, yes, they had zone, but they were able to get so many eliminations. We see so many teams be able to have zone, but they just play it super passive. But we know Stalwart is not a passive team.
But that's the thing I love so much, is that they knew exactly that that compound was held on by Next Rhea. That was super valuable at the time. They knew especially there was a lot of teams who were trying to survive in the midi area that were going to push out. You know that you're going to get third party through and through every time going for that push show. Just go for the high ground up north, get rid of Nova, which they did perfectly. The execution on that was top tier. And then just, you have the last circle. Sure, there was a little bit of circle lock on that very last circle, but they could have breached it anyways, even if the circle went away from them. So they played their position so well. This is why I love watching Stalwart play so much, because if they have an opportunity to win a game, 99% of the time, they are going to be able to convert that into a big win with big elimination points, which here they got 14. Big step up here.
And I mean, just going off base what we saw there, I really wish King from Nova Esports would have been able to take the fight. That would have distracted them. I feel like the rotation, when they lost that high ground, it put them in a horrible spot, as we were able to see there earlier. So maybe with Nova, I would like to see a little bit more aggressiveness out of them when it comes to that kind of stage. If you see them, because King was going to be able to surprise them. They had no idea that he was there. I know they were probably being a little bit worried, but when you get out, are you really going to be willing to give up that high ground and then backfire like this? I think Nova Esports is going to be able to learn a lot from that fight.
I think the play for King potentially was just get involved. If you can get a little bit of damage, potentially a knock or two, then have the rest of your team come in. But because they had the information on where King was standing and where the rest, of course, of Nova supposedly were remaining, they just went into the circle, held onto the more northern western side, and just gate-kept the rest of Nova and won that fight super easily without putting almost any effort. So Stalwart just took that easy win at the very end. It was great execution.
Yeah, you're going to be rotating pretty much to their eyesight, so might as well just take that fight. And don't put yourself in a curious situation where you're going to be losing the high ground and you're not really going to know where they're going to be shooting you at, because they're able to just pretty much pop up, hide, move around, and be able to pretty much eliminate you.
And I'm looking at Stalwart, and we always talked about Infinity when it came to East League as being one of the most consistent teams. But if you looked at the results, right, of some of these teams, we looked at Dam1, they finished first in finals, they finished 13th in league stage. Xavier finished second in finals, 14th in league stage. Stalwart finished third in finals, third in league stage. On the other side for West, Next Rhea, first in finals, 9th in league stage. Navi, second in finals, 12th in league stage. Stalwart has been probably one of the most consistent teams we have seen across both of these little mini events we've had within league stage, and they're showing that they still have that consistency now going into the grand finals.
I would not even say one of the most consistent. I would say the most consistent. Again, two third positions back to back in those two stages is really insane. But hey, they started off, as I said, I talked with Senator, they're going for that first place. They want to be that first place team at the end. They want to be called the world champion, and this is a really good start to doing so here, Seven.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be heading to a short break where we get things ready to go for our second match of the day. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon for some more PUBG Mobile action.
saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
Welcome back, everyone. PMGC 2021 is the grand finals. We're here in Berlin. We have players from all around the world competing to be the best team in the world and to also win $1.5 million. Just imagine going home, $1.5 million. Well, not in your pocket, technically. You have to split it between your teammates, but that's a lot of money. That's a lot that you can use to invest into yourself, invest into the brand of your team, maybe throw some over to your favorite analysts and hosts. Who knows?
You're thinking about investing? I'm over here thinking about just buying some skins in the game. I really want that Scar L. It looks so sick.
I think 1.5 mil would not be enough for me to get any skin. I would just be so unlucky every time.
That does sound like your luck, to be fair. We are going on to a second match, though. It's going to be heading over to Miramar, and we've already had a little bit of a discussion while we were in the break, and a couple of teams we're looking out for here, in particular when it comes to maybe early clashes. Max, you want to go ahead and start off that topic?
I'm going to be looking at El Pozo. Of course, we had scrims and everything happening. Maybe those things changed, but I'm expecting maybe a fine El Pozo between Nigma Galaxy and Alpha 7. And we know that Alpha 7, they love those hot drops because they pretty much have hot drops technically that could happen on every single map. So intrigued to see if that's going to actually happen or not, because Nigma Galaxy, early fights, not really their speciality. So I think that they might try and avoid it as much as possible.
Another one to look out for that I know it actually happened. I want to add one to that list that you're pointing out. Is going to be Next Rhea. Next Ray usually tends to land there as well. They did end up changing it because they had so many engagements with Alpha 7 and Alpha 7-1. But I wonder if at this stage, more than likely not. But you know, I am being a little bit hopeful. Maybe Next Ray will decide to land there and be like, hey guys, nice to see you again.
That would be funny, actually. But I feel like most teams want to avoid running into each other early on, especially in day one of the event. But I mean, we can see here our damage dealers from the first match, and Action and Top both of you making their way through. But as we saw, Order was the MVP. So usually, as I think it was Claris who noticed it during East League, is that like even when Nova was not doing well, even in the week they didn't qualify for the Super Weekend, Paraboy was still the big standout player competing with the likes of I think it was like Newsy at the time, like of the teams who were in first place. We're seeing Order step up, and taking a look at the limbs, I mean, this isn't too surprising.
Yeah, not too surprising. We're going to see Top. We're going to see Action being up there. Scry typically is not the one that's going to be getting most of those eliminations, right? He's the one that's trying to set up initially Top and Action, but he's just had apparently great opportunities every single time. So while not Strike, while
he's just like, you know what? I'm tired of you guys not talking about me. I'm going to step up. Not seeing Pika here this time, but 7, really impressive stuff from Stalwart from Mongolia.
Definitely. I mean, just going back to what I was talking about earlier, for them to be able to get that win with the amount of engagements that they were able to have, for only have to heal up 400, that is just so impressive. I feel like it's a big understatement. I'm hoping viewers at home will be able to keep an eye on that, because that just talks about their positioning. They're being able to put themselves, once again, just in a great spot, making sure they win those fights and making sure some other teams kind of don't even want to fight them. Nova just decided not to fight that, and I'm still kind of scratching my head. But another team I do want to talk about is Navi. I feel like Navi played that so well. They were nowhere near their usual landing spot towards North George. They decided to drop right there on the military, and they did a beautiful 2-2 split. A beautiful 2-2 split. We were wondering, I thought at one point maybe they were gonna just try to go to the bridge camp. They decided not to, but they were able to hold off a lot of teams. They were able to be opportunistic to get some elims as well, and they were able to hold off Damn Son. Damn one. There you go.
Damn son, that was
I know.
It was actually a really good hold, right? Because they had such a good high ground opportunity. While also, I believe it was maybe Tixie on the lower side. It was just trying to make sure that they were pinning down the entirety of Damwon. It was good execution, but unfortunately, that third party from Na'Vi, from Nova actually, made it just a little bit more tricky at the end. But good execution still from Na'Vi, just got a little bit too hard there.
Yeah, a little bit difficult indeed, but they still have more matches either way. And before we can really drop into our next match, I want to give a shout out to Singtel, providing PMGC with Singapore's most powerful 5G network. And speaking of that, I mean, Na'Vi, they're going to need that powerful 5G network because they have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. I'm going to call them out in particular. 7, every time we ever talk about Na'Vi going into these big international events, there's always so much hype around them. We always talk about how good they are as a team. And I'm sorry to say this, but they kind of always let us down.
I 100% agree with you.
Thank God. I didn't want people
I was
hating
going
on
to say
me.
disagree.
No. It's just always a big hype, and something that this team definitely lacks of, and this is something that we're kind of looking at before the show started, is this is a team that it's not really able to carry momentum really big. If they get a win, they're not able to end up backing it up with another win, or maybe able to back it up with the top 5. It's always a roller coaster with them. If they do pop off, they end up popping off. But I would love to see a little bit more consistency out of them, whether it's in regards to elims, whether it's in regards to placement points. I just want to see consistency and just carrying momentum.
So would you say then for you, Na'Vi is your team to watch in this match?
100%.
Okay.
Because they were just so impressive. I was really, really surprised at the way they were able to play that last match.
Okay, so we got Na'Vi for 7 on the end. Or 7, you're not 7, you're max man.
I'm 8.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're 8. Who's your team to watch?
I mean, okay. I kind of gave up on 4 rivals when it comes to getting potential wins. But no, they're going to do it right now. They're going to make it happen, okay? I don't know when, but I'm going to go with this game. Let's go, 4
Well,
rivals.
you're brave. I went with Stalwart Esports to see if they can maintain that momentum for the first match of the day. And speaking about maintaining things, we're going to maintain our casters here live, back on the air. Mustache Dave and Necro, take us away.
Damn, son, already game number 2, dropping in hot. Necro, Dave on the mic. Miramar won a game number 1. Necro, though, already in the Miramar match.
Oh man, here we go. The Deserty lands a Miramar, and I do want to see what's going to be happening on such a massive map already, because we talked about some drop clashes coming in El Pozo. And well, 2 of the big teams out there, man. What are your expectations, Dave?
Yeah, we're looking at El Pozo, Enigma Galaxy, A7, and then Monte Nuevo down to the south next Ria. So there could be some early clashes. Not only that, Hacienda, right? Hacienda del Patron. I believe Godlike like to go there, S2G like to go there.
That's
so
a big one.
there's a lot of what ifs. I know we had practice, I know we had scrims, but the big thing is that was then, this is now. This is when everything matters. This is when it's all on the line. So with that in mind, can a team realistically afford to hot drop another team to risk the potential of getting 0 points here? That's the question up in the air.
That's what got me thinking as well, because now we also know that you don't really have a lot of games to mess around with. You cannot just try out some new strats completely and then maybe, try and work things out. But no, another Southern Circle inside the map of Miramar. These are quite rare, Dave.
As rare as it gets. I'm just trying to soak it all in. Because we get circle number 1, there's some water in play, and yeah, this is Miramar, go figure. But up there to the north, I'm still looking. We got ST, we got 4 rivals, S2G, like all these squads are still hot dropping on each other essentially.
Oh man, they just don't care. They want the early smoke.
They don't care.
And well, guess what? Yep, I'm pretty sure they will probably get the early smoke, unless if Enigma Galaxy just do not want to give A7 what they want. A7, of course, is one of the most aggressive teams out there, and they're not going to be backing out from a fight without any kind of they would at least want some elim points on their name to start the day off. And A7, they are out for blood without a doubt. H2G for now in Hacienda del Patron, they have gone to full control of that side, so seems like somewhere down line, Godlike has backed off from there.
Hit that subscribe, by the way. Notifications on. That's guaranteed you can get it done. Shout out to all the viewers, by the way. I was watching a ton of people watching right now, a ton of people cheering for Godlike in the YouTube chat, and a ton of people cheering for Stalwart Esports. So I'm looking at this game though. You're kind of touching on it. The redemption, Alpha 7. I called Alpha 7. 7 called Alpha 7. Last game, couple elim points. We saw them on that bridge camp on that east side. Didn't really play out in their favor. And I'm looking at Alpha 7 because I feel like game number 2 needs to be their game to really come back, I want to say. Get that momentum, those juices flowing so that they can play their confident play style that at least I'm used to seeing from them in that West League.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you talk about Alpha 7, the first thing that comes up in my mind is that aggression they show, and also the the consistency that Alpha 7 in general have, right? They're just one of those teams that do not like to back away from the fights, but at the same time, they do manage to get decent amount of points for themselves each and every single game. So, which is quite understandable. Alpha 7, this is what they're known for, but I do want to see what exactly, what kind of things are going on for Godlike over here, because we did not see them in Hacienda del Patron.
Godlike, I'm not gonna lie, last game, I was extremely impressed with that grenade from Jonathan.
Oh, me too.
Jonathan went for a nice little rotate to wrap around their teammates to kind of get that off angle, while 3 of their squad mates were in the front lines, kind of taking that fight with Alpha 7. They did an okay job, but then you had Carrillo in the back lines playing Overwatch, and Carrillo was really able to put a stop to that push over that little ledge. And so all that pressure was on Jonathan. And with all that being said, Jonathan did come out on top, in my opinion, in that very challenging situation. So Godlike, man, Godlike have a ton of people cheering for him. They're at the biggest stage right now. They got a lot to prove. They got some teammates that do have that world experience, I believe the desk was talking about. If there was kind of that wild card to disrupt the lobby, and let me get your take on this, I feel like it's Godlike, right? Godlike
Without a
can
doubt.
be that disruption to the lobby. And the reason I'm saying that is because we had East League and we had West League. 9 teams from East League, they're playing here. 6 teams from West League, they're playing here. So those teams are kind of familiar with each other, if you get what I'm laying down. They kind of know each other's habits somewhat. So they have a big advantage when it comes to that. Who they don't know the habits of, they don't know the habits of Godlike. Yeah, you could have watched them, but you don't have that in-game experience against Godlike. So I really feel like Godlike could be that wild card factor with some of these teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just that one game slipping out of hands, it's fun. You can completely afford that one game. But as you mentioned, Godlike can definitely be that wild card factor. And if they are, it's going to be one of the biggest storylines without a doubt. Godlike, they dropped over here. They did not want any kind of early fight, so I do like the improvisation coming in from their side. Water treatment is where they opted to drop out. So HTG as well, early rotations. A lot of teams, they do not want to waste any kind of time. And Godlike, we are seeing them make those late game rotations happen, which is quite questionable. Most of the times they don't really work out, but maybe they have some kind of backup plan building through.
Not that, just looking at BGIS, Godlike, they tend to favor, when they get into these skirmishes, kind of a 3-1 split where they got one of their teammates up in the front lines, really keeping that pressure on. Meanwhile, they separate their other 3 teammates to cover that one squad mate in the front line. So they got all angles pretty much covered. And I feel like that's kind of one of those new metas that we're starting to see. Alpha 7 kind of did that a little bit in the West League. It paid off big time for them. So I'm really cheering for Godlike and just their overall momentum that I have to assume they're feeling right now. They have to be pumped to be playing in this lobby. So Miramar, okay, let's get into the game. Looking at all the players, we didn't lose anybody yet. So that's a good sign for the players here. Almost, 7 minutes into the game. A lot of early rotates. Anything sticking out to Necro? Anything that Necro sees is like, oh man, what's happening there? Or is this all things, another day at the office, big chilling?
I mean, one more classic thing that I'm seeing, Navi again going for those late game rotations. This is what we're really known for. But yeah, as you were talking about that 3-1 split, now it's pretty good when it comes to the individual team fights, right? But if you get third party, now we casted the West Side, Dave, and we do know how many third parties happen in West Side. And 3-1 split, I feel like they're most vulnerable, especially when a third party happens. Especially if you have the one player separated out in the open, if he gets taken out, the rest 3 players, they're also kind of separated out from each other. And if you get third party in that situation, Dave, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, somewhat. And to me, it comes down to map knowledge, knowing the terrain and knowing what sight lines you might be exposed to, right? Not only that, the spacing in between your split. As long as your spacing isn't too far from each other, for example, to add to your point, if one of your teammates gets knocked down, as long as that spacing isn't too far, you should be able to get the pickup, right? If you are safe to do so, of course. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And Godlike, just watching BGIS, a lot of the fights that they were in, they were aware of the terrain. They took these nice fights when they would push out in the open, where they knew for a fact what angles were covered, which angles weren't covered, and if those angles weren't covered, they had a teammate covering it for them, if you get what I'm saying here. So Godlike, I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of Godlike. I am really happy that they made it here, and I think they could really disrupt this lobby.
Dude, I myself am a huge fan of Godlike. You know what they say, hashtag they'll say Godlike. And that's what I'm going to say as well. But yeah, for now, the circle shift as well, kind of going to be moving down south again, a little bit tilted on the right side, which is completely fine. That means there is going to be a lot much more free compounds for other teams to try and take it. But yeah, now as you were also talking about the kind of like separation, you should not really be separated from each other a little too much. And I feel like for that is a perfect example has to be Stalwart Esports. I just like how they like adapt in each and every single fight, right? It's not like they don't separate a little too much in these fights. It's like they do that, but if only they have a clear knockout easy. Like if they're sure that they're going to be getting this knockout, then only they will make the huge separation happen. Unless they just try to like keep themselves separated, but not too much.
Yeah, Stalwart Esports, another prime example that we saw last game. Every time we would look at them, they either had a 2-2 split or they had a 3-1 split with action in the front line. And that reminded me a lot. We saw it, not to be too biased here, but from North America, when Coops got invited onto the Knights, that was exactly what they did. And that played out big time for him up until a certain point. But Stalwart Esports doing the same thing here with action. You got that front line gunner, the one that seals the deal. Just make sure that they stay alive. Not only that, but top always opening up these engagements for him. But talking about opening up these engagements, yeah, Nox Bump. Dude, did you see that tracking right there? Well, that was the 1-2 dirt nap out here.
Oh, if I am the player dying right there, I'm saying, I'm yelling he's a cheater. I'm yelling. There's no way. You know, it's just that's just me if I'm playing the game.
Oh, damn, son. That's why I'm yelling. If I get taken out like that, like they were full pedal to the metal right there.
Oh, my God.
What a nice shot there. And this is Fenerbahce. Last game, we saw them. They got heated. They got crashed upon. Didn't work out in their favor. And if they would have won that fight, they would have came out big time because that compound was solid. So a lot of these teams, they're looking for that redemption, I feel like, in game number 2. All these teams are top-notch. They all have the skill. They made it here. They're here for a reason. But, of course, you don't want to get 0 points in a game. So I'm really looking for these bottom teams to perform here in this match to really get it going.
Oh, dude. Nextria, one of those teams, they won the West League, dude. Completely surprising all of us. And I do want to see now what Nextria they are going to be doing in grand finals as well. They've been talking quite a lot about all these other teams. Nextria, one of those teams, I feel like we need to talk about them a little bit more, having players like frozen underneath your sleeves. And if I'm going to hold on to my words for now, again, Godlike being held at the bay. And this is what I really do not like. Those late rotations do not work out most of the times. And Godlike, again, being held off at bay. And this time, it's Stalwart Esports doing the same thing. But guess what? It's going to be a little third party from the side of Na'Vi. And, of course, it's a West team doing the third party.
Yeah, they're definitely going to lose one in this process. Godlike out there, but they're kind of catching a break because now Na'Vi going to be applying that pressure to Stalwart. So it is what it is, as these teams going to be up here in the north trying to outrun the blue zone, now closing in on them. Stole the kill, but the other 3 teammates of Godlike, they were able to successfully get on out of harm's way. They're still in their vehicles. They're ready to react to this next circle shift. Oh, but no, as I said, that Neo. Godlike. This rotation, man, it isn't paying out in their favor right now.
Dude, late rotations, I'm telling you, it's really hard to get those down. Late rotations most of the times do not really work out, but for now, Na'Vi, they're looking pretty good. Another one of those teams that do like to rotate pretty late, but in the previous Erangel game, I did like the adaptive nature from their side. I did like it was kind of like a huge change in pace that we saw from how Na'Vi played back in the league days, but now Stalwart Esports, that's a huge spray from top. Did connect quite a lot of shots, but I also do see Delma Guinea going against HTG in the kill feed, but oh my God, Kitsune barely made it on the other side of the edge.
And look at the different play styles here. Na'Vi, they see the next circle shift and they prioritize sending it, trying to get a better position in that circle. Meanwhile, Stalwart, they aren't worried, right? They're playing this one slow, they are relaxing, and they were able to get a couple shots out there on that Na'Vi rotate. And it just goes to show, at least to me, the confidence right now that Stalwart, that they have the ability to play slow, that they're not going to let these zones kind of dictate their movement. They're not going to let these zones apply pressure on the bigger picture gameplay here, game plan that is, that they are coming in here with.
Oh, dude, the game plan, as you mentioned, they're also going to be rolling out some like secret cards, I'm pretty sure, on the day 2, and I cannot wait for that. But yeah, Team Secret now. quite close to the players of H2G. There was a fight going on between Down1 Gaming and H2G. Couple of casualties. We did witness those as well. Down1 Gaming as well, short one player. Same thing goes with H2G. Team Secret. Do you realize in the front there is a team? They're also taking things quite slow. Stalwart Esports. Again, they're just tailing Na'Vi around.
Action.
Oh.
Down there. Oh.
no.
Tixie. Able to. Oh, look at that tracking, by the way. The gyro right there from Action. But yeah, I guess Stalwart Esports, you can also say they're a little more comfortable in this situation when I'm talking about that pressure from the zones, because they do have 29 points from last game. We can see the leaderboard right there on that right-hand side compared to Na'Vi with 1 elim point from this game. So they're going to have 8. So that mental game, man, it is going to play a factor here for a lot of these players and their decision-making for sure.
Mental game. Always an important factor. Big tournaments like this. And Action just trying to blow Tixie's vehicle. Did bust out a tire, so Tixie now will have to move out in the open, trying to pop in V, trying to dodge those shots. But not enough movement indeed, and Top is going to be finding him. Tixie goes down. Tixie eliminated out the game. That's not really good news for Na'Vi. Na'Vi left with only 2 players alive.
Man, you can just see the concentration right there on Top's face as well. I think I saw a little sweat drip from their forehead right there. Like, that is how tunnel vision they are. I love the player cams, by the way. I love that we get to see their looks. I love that we get to see their grips that they're using. And just that determination. Next zone goes up, so hopefully they're a little more determined because they are on the opposite end. So Stalwart Esports, they are going to have the challenge to reposition now in this new circle that did once again favor the south and favor the water.
Oh, did you see the split from Infinity as well inside the zone? They had like all 4 players separated out, and as soon as they realized next trio is closing in, they just retreated back. Now they have a 2-2 split. Both these compounds are being acquired by Infinity, and Infinity have the prime positioning inside the zone, including Nigma Galaxy. Now they can try and play this off as safe as possible, or else they can try and rack up some kill points that are the teams that are trying to make it inside the zone. Team Secret, though, pretty close to Furious Gaming. Or I guess I gotta say, Poppy Potro is pretty close to Team Secret.
Yeah, if there was a player that can really clutch this one out, Poppy Pocho is that player.
There we go.
Popping up with that UMP. Surprise! Exactly what they're saying. What I want to see now is some type of support, though, from the back lines. Maybe send one teammate down there in the front lines to help support Poppy Pocho, but it looks like the 3 teammates are going to remain up there in the hills playing that oversight position.
Oh, they're just the scouts right now. They're just giving so much information to Poppy Potro. They're kind of like they're his eyes behind the sight lines.
But look at Jumper. Jumper recognizes what angles are currently going to be occupied. He knows for a fact that the south, the wall is going to be the perfect cover. And Furious Gaming, the 3 teammates on the hills, they don't have sight lines behind that hill. And Poppy Procho, well, got caught slipping.
At HDG, they're just like, all right, don't mind us, guys. We're just making our way through. We're peaceful. We're friendly. Just got some safe pathway out of that miserable situation. Yeah, now again, Furious Gaming, they have 1 man down. Poppy Potro is a huge man, and you do want to make sure he's back up on his feet. Down1 Gaming. Seems like they're charging up on DX Xavier. Lamborghini's position, is it compromised? That's the question. And I'm pretty sure it has to be at this point in time. Fabian just cooking up an aid. Wants to lob in right outside. And yep, as just Stalwart Esports as well, rolling out on the sidelines, but I'm not really sure. I don't think so they're going to be challenging a fight.
No, they're zooming back. They're looking to reposition. They're looking to get into the circle. So DX Xavier back against the wall. 2 squad mates right there trying to defend this compound up against 3.
Duck in the back, knocked out. Not a good news. Not a good news at all.
They do have the ability to play this one a little slow, but not too slow, because look at the circle shift. This fight is not in the next zone. And looks like Frankie going to be popping in that Bucky trying to reposition. That could be risky. But Silas, I saw Silas cooking the grenade right there, trying to toss that one out onto Pika, but Pika did not allow that to happen. Hopefully they can pick up Action, though, because look at this. Action crawling on their knees, but Action has that M249. Squad wiper, so that can come in clutch. Next zone, once again, Enigma Galaxy, they picked that compound on the coast, and look at this. I have a feeling it's going to play out in their favor, because where else can it go? Not only that, it's on a main road, so you have to assume some teams, they might rotate on that main road for quick access. And look at that.
Oh.
Yes, they do get the circle shift. So Enigma Galaxy easily looking at a top 5 if they can defend their compound.
Oh, they're chilling. They're chilling big time. Unless they're just going to be witnessing a huge wave of teams coming in out of their compound, just trying to ram their vehicles right onto it. I'm pretty sure that's going to be happening in the future. For now, DXavier, Frankie being taken out. Lamborghini's the man. And certainly, this time is not as quick as his name. Instead, taking things a little slow, being as cautious as possible. Popping that med kit as well. It's taken down to 70% of HP. And Lamborghini, I do understand the only man alive, has a lot of pressure, but guess what? Strikes at the right time.
Not only that, as a solo here on Miramar, you got a lot of dips, you got a lot of terrain to work with to try to avoid any type of sightline. So maybe they could solo snake it and come out on top with some additional placement points. Fenerbahce out there in the distance. They are going to have to reposition here very shortly. Paraboy, though, look at that. Another teammate on the field. M249 out there in the open, looking to get some nice shots on out. Well, Lamborghini did reposition. They saw the water, and they said, YOLO, sending it straight to the water. That's a good play, though. I like that play a lot.
That is indeed kind of like the safest route you can take inside these kind of zones. But A7 looking to take out the man in the close. And it's going to be Kador from Nextruya. Easily being taken care of. A7 now, they also need to make it inside the zone. So the pathway in the front is going to be a little exposed. But it's fine. They've got the vehicles covering their back. Senatex and Mafioso, they're going to be making their way slowly inside the zone. Infinity as well. As I mentioned, they had a really great positioning until the zone moved away from them. But still, they can try and hold off the teams that are in the back, including Nova. But Jimmy's the only man alive.
Yeah, still pretty solid position, though, all things considered. I think a little bit of it is in the next circle, and we saw they have those different levels of terrain to work with. So as long as they can make sure nobody surprises them from behind, they should be looking ahead, looking downhill. And as long as they have some vehicles to maybe work with, they are looking pretty solid, in my opinion, especially with 4 up.
Oh, they are looking really solid. Team Secret right on the edge, including Stalwart Esports. This game definitely not as good as expected, but Team Secret for sure. Even though they're hurt, they're not down yet. They're still giving a huge fight to all these teams in the lobby. 2 players alive. Shot should be back up on his feet in no time. A7. Carrillo taken out. That's not going to be keeping A7 settled. They need to make sure Carrillo's going to be back up on his feet. And Nextruya is the one trying to hold him off at bay. Yikta going to be confirming the kill on to Carrillo. Barely alive on a sliver of health, but Yikta still charges forward, and he is getting taken care of.
Yeah, charging downhill like that. No real option because the next zone did shift. So
what is
that
this
pressure?
Circle?
Yep, that pressure just added on top of that one. So Mafioso happy after that elim, looking to loot some crates, looking to get some additional meds, re-up on the ammo, and then pretty much reposition to send a text up, who I believe has a pretty solid snaking position out there on that road. As long as they can avoid the sightlines from Enigma Galaxy, who have been, we have to say, they have been big chilling this whole game. What a position they called out, and what a position they claimed early on here.
Exactly, but I don't like the split coming in from Raouf. All the way separated out. I understand it's a 3-1 split, but still, in these kind of moments, you're not supposed to separate out, and that's what exactly I was saying, because soon there might be a lot of charge-ins, and Raouf, he does have the buggy underneath the water, but he got spotted, taking a lot of shots, and oh no, steps out the buggy in the nick of time, but Infinity, here comes a charge-in through from their side as well.
I did like the Raouf play as long as they don't get taken out here, because to me that's like the insurance policy. You send one into the water because you know water's in play, and you make sure that they stay alive. Meanwhile, use your numbers to your advantage. See, we need to see Freak, we need to see Lord, we need to see them be putting in that pressure to make sure that insurance policy in the water does stay alive, and they weren't able to pull that off here.
Oh, not anymore. The insurance policy gets taken away from them. Unfortunate. Team Secret, but still, Enigma Galaxy, they have the man advantage inside this entire situation, and they can always turn it into a victory. Unless, of Again, they don't make any kind of rookie mistakes. Team Secret, Shots the only man alive, but all it takes is that one little mistake, and Shots will get a huge chance to try and bounce back.
Another huge game, too, when we're talking elim points for these top teams. Alpha 7, I saw 7 elim points. Enigma Galaxy, 8 elim points. So they were able to really use that position, that compound in their favor. As Lord going to be pulling up here. Grenade, cooking it, looking to toss it. Let's see, will it be successful? Oh, Freak also going to water? I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's a questionable play from Enigma Galaxy. I don't know why they did that. Trying their best to take out Shots, and finally a nade connects on the Shots. As we mentioned, got him, a huge got him moment without a doubt, but now it's a 2-on-2 situation, and A7, they thrive in these moments.
They do. They do. Let's see, getting shot from the SLR. Now, just think about it. If they would have kept Freak alive, they would have had a 3v2 right now. But instead, Freak went into the water. Don't know why. Now they're down to just a 2v2, and this is Mafioso and Senatexa, two of the most consistent players from the West League.
Oh, using that bus as a movie cover as well. I do like what Hamoudi is trying to do here, but if Enigma Galaxy played things a little bit more safer, this wouldn't be the outcome. Yeah,
they're too
taken
grouped.
down a little bit too low.
Up.
Yeah, as you mentioned, too grouped up. There needs to be a little separation. There needs to be a little bit more info gathering, and I do like what A7 are doing. Senatex are trying his best to give as much as visual info as possible to Mafioso, and Mafioso slowly and steadily sneaking around the ridge, making sure his presence isn't being sensed by Enigma Galaxy.
Exactly. Senatexa has that hard cover. Senatexa trying to keep these sight lines to make sure Enigma Galaxy stay pinned down. Meanwhile, Mafioso quietly sneaking up within grenade range. Enigma Galaxy are on top of each other. There goes one. Now it's up to Lord to clutch this one out. Oh, was able to take out Mafioso, but Senatexa full sending it right now.
Oh, the reply is there without a doubt. And as you mentioned, Senatexa full sending it down the line. He does have the UMP to favor him in those close range combat. Senatexa is not going to fall back, but the problem is Lord doesn't have HP favoring him, and he is trying his best to heal back up, but Senatexa is just a little too aggressive in these moments, and he will seal the deal on the final man of Enigma Galaxy. And A7 get that chicken dinner. Wow.
Let's go. Hey, did I just see you try to drop shot Senatexa? Nah, nah, not like this. Alpha 7. Winner, chicken dinner in game number 2. And I gotta say, that split at the end, Senatexa covering the position from the high ground, Mafioso trying to get within grenade range, find that little dip. That was the game-winning play here. So, huge congrats to them, but also congrats to Enigma Galaxy. Ton of kills, ton of placement points as well, Necro.
Dude, insane game, insane game. 10 elims from the side of A7, Enigma Galaxy as well. Some rookie mistakes being made, honestly. When they had that one man being taken out from that split, as you mentioned, the insurance, when it got taken away from them, I feel like they should have at least tried to like stay to group up a little bit, but they should have also had a little bit of sensible split between them.
Well, it is what it is. That was only game number 2, Miramar. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. Let's hear what the analysts have to say about that game.
Well, you better not go anywhere because we have a lot to say about that last match. Thank you very much, Necro and Mustache Dave, for covering that one. I can already see out of the corner of my eye 7 extremely happy about Alpha 7 taking home a chicken dinner, taking home a good amount of eliminations, but also for Senatexa, he played last year here at PMGC, or the first year at PMGC, well, PMCO, Fall Split Global Finals, let me get the entire name out there. He played back then, and he's shown he's got what it takes to compete, and got what it takes to get them victories.
He's been one of the most veteran players out of the Americas, and I mean, he's showcasing it. He's actually continuing to improve. He's not just being stagnant, he's been able to improve. He's now becoming a clutch player, as we were able to see right there for this team. And I mean, this is huge for Alpha 7, because if I'm not mistaken, in the next one, we're going to be going to Sandhawk, and there's going to be a lot of spicy stuff that we're going to be talking about it in a bit. But for Alpha 7, I mean, I do hope they're able to carry that momentum. This is a team that's usually really well at carrying that momentum. If they're able to maintain that, it's going to be huge for them.
Yeah, I think especially you have some players that are very hesitant to go to that first-person mode towards the end there, but going into that FPP moment in that 1v1 was just clutch. In that smoke moment, you're going to have that information first, and you're instantly going to be able to get in that spray mode. Good execution from Center Texas, feeling confident towards the end to secure the win. That's what we want to see in those finishing moments.
Yeah, and also give a shout out to Enigma Galaxy, right? This team, we really kind of criticized a lot when it came to the league stage. They just really didn't seem to pick up a lot of eliminations. They mostly got their points early on was just placement points, but they get a lot of limbs here. They get second place as well. We'll take a look at the points they get here in just a few seconds, but this was a strong start for them as well here in match 2.
Yeah, I had a big question mark coming into this. Sure, they're Sanhok, they show what they can do, but you only have 3 Sanhok games, so I want to see if they can bring some consistency to the table on Miramar and also Erangel. They got 2 second places here. They're able to get 21 total points on this game, but once again, Alpha 7 able to get 10 eliminations, and it was not given, right, 7. They were consistently fighting onto the western side, creating opportunities, getting that high ground, and then pushing hard at the end was Mafioso trying to go for that flank. It was an interesting idea. Mafioso did go down, but man, they were fighting tooth and nail for that game.
It kind of worked out great that they were able to just switch one player from each other, right?
Yeah.
One got knocked, the other player got knocked too, so that helped out Alpha 7 in a huge way. And I love that Senatexa didn't just take the time to wait and see what happened. He just decided to push on the buggy and make sure he was able to get that chicken there. So that was really an impressive play out of Senatexa, and I mean, that shows why he is that veteran player out of Alpha 7. Another team I really want to talk about is Team Secret. I feel like the difference from what we saw in the first game to this game, it was night and day. I love the pushes they were able to do.
Yeah.
They seem more coordinated. They seem more working together, and it was just lovely to see. And they were able to finish off some of those fights without getting any of their players eliminated.
Yeah, in particular, I think Team Secret was super opportunistic in this game because this circle continuously going towards that ocean, like very rarely happens, by the way, on these map of Miramar. They were super opportunistic because you had all these teams. You had Stalwart, 628, Fined Batshit, Enigma Galaxy, you had also Nova that were all coming down in their position, and they picked up almost every single elimination on teams that were trying to make that rotation happen. So good on Team Secret, willing to take the fight when it comes their way.
Well, we can see here our overall rankings from our first 2 matches being played so far. And Stalwart Esports still maintaining that #1 position only by 3 points. But that's also a really good idea, or at least shows us a good thing about Enigma Galaxy. Haven't won a match, but they're still second place. They're still ahead of Alpha 7, who didn't have a good first match. They're able to put up a consistent performance so far, and that's a great sign for this team.
We talked a lot, especially in the Eastern League, about how the Arabic region has been able to continuously improve, and potentially the region they improved the most, I would say, throughout the past year, and doing some big gestures because it's how impressive it's actually been for this team. And they've proven it here. If they can perform on the PMGC international stage, I think that they're really going to put the Arabic region on the map, and they've really done so in big fashion so far.
Speaking of big fashion, 7, don't worry, you'll talk in a second here. You guys can see the CD key for the PMGC token. It's getting ever so close to being finished off for this very first day. We can get yourself 1,200 tokens if you redeem it at PUBGmobile.com/redeem. But also, we're already up to 800,000 viewers here. We got 200,000 to go, so tell your friends, tell your family, tell your significant others, maybe tell your pets as well if they do have a phone, hopefully for them a OnePlus. Tune in, because we're going to be giving away a lot of prizes for everyone else out there at home. 7, though, let's talk about it. Let's continue the conversation.
With this one, I mean, the team I actually want to talk about is going to be a little bit different with what we're talking about them in regards to Erangel. I'm going to be talking about Godlike. I noticed this is now the second match that they decide to play the blue zone, and it's making it so they're not able to have any mistakes. If they have a mistake, they're going to be losing a player, whether it is by the damage of the zone that they're receiving, but they're not being actually allowed to create any rotations. I don't know if maybe they need to start moving in towards the circle a little bit faster, but so far, they got super lucky on that Erangel, right? With Jonathan being able to clutch up and being able to get those elims, but here in this last game in Miramar, it totally backfired too.
Yeah, I think you just need a little bit more time. We said it right. You need just a little bit more experience. I think this first day is going to be a little bit of test for them. Try and see if they're going to test the waters, see if they can potentially go for a playstyle that works. Blue, not working out so far for them so far, so we'll see if they can try and potentially adapt a little bit more in the next games to come.
I mean, there's still a lot of matches left to go. We still have 16 over the next 3 days, but you are running out of them, right? If you want to be the team coming in first place, win the $1.5 million, you can't really afford to have too many bad matches, but you're allowed to have the 1 or 2. And before we do even continue to continue throughout the show, we have another recap coming up here in just a few seconds. Not sure again what team it's going to be quite just yet, but you know what? I'm probably going to assume it's going to be Alpha 7 since they won the whole thing there.
They have to be. I would be surprised if we actually not going to be talking about them. And another player I wanted to talk about with Alpha 7, Carrillo. We were actually able to see him there. It got super close to the point where he got knocked, and this is something that we were talking about before this show, Max. It was how they are so used to just sending out Korea to scout for them because he's usually one of the main fraggers for that team, right? But it can also backfire because if he gets caught in a peculiar situation, you're going to be losing a player of the caliber of Korea. Luckily for them, that didn't happen in the last match.
Yeah, we were a little bit scared, potentially them losing Korea could hurt their chances of getting these big wins pretty significantly. But the cool thing is that now Cinetexa has that fragging potential, right? And he has been coming in clutch, especially in that finish gun in that FPP mode. So don't need carry, you can have the rest of the team carry.
They might look small there on that mini map, but they're big players in game here as we are taking a look at Mafioso, as we were talking about before as well. Some early fights happening for Alpha 7. And again, for this team, I mean, I think there's a lot of pressure on their shoulders being the best team for this entire year from Brazil. We talk about Star Wars Esports being the team from Mongolia, but this team also has that same kind of pressure on their shoulders, and can they live up to it? Well, I mean, we're seeing they're starting to do so, and they're able to do quite well in third place.
Yeah, I mean, and not even Brazil is actually, sorry, I'm going to go back to Alpha 7, is actually their best team from the Americas. They were definitely the most consistent team out of the Americas.
Destroyed Americas.
It wasn't even close. So that's what a lot of people are looking towards this team, to seeing how they're going to be performing towards the East. Because in Americas, as I do cover that area, everybody just looks at the East teams like they're just godly. They cannot be touched. But now, I mean, for Alpha 7 to be able to get this chicken dinner here in the second match is going to be huge for them.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we're actually going to be seeing the exact execution towards the end of that game. It was Cinetexa, it was Mafioso. Cinetexa, towards that end moment there, waiting onto the backside and trying to allow his teammate, which is Mafioso, to actually get a little bit closer in. So I think that position, going for that 1-1 split, was perfectly executed. Those smokes were greatly played from Nigma Galaxy, but when you get close, you just throw a few nades, and that's pretty much done and dusted. Mafioso, unfortunately, does get knocked, but then it turns to the 1v1, and then that great FPP play from Cinetexa, which is clutch at the end.
And that's what I was talking about. Cinetexa wasted no time in making sure he went for that push. As soon as Mafioso was already getting knocked down, Cinetexa went for it. And right here, this is something that you were talking about, and I personally use it when I play PUBG Mobile myself, Max, is I like to switch to that FPP view, especially in this close quarter, because it's just going to give you such a huge advantage. As you can see right there, Cinetexa being able to clutch up, and he is becoming that clutch up player, which is great. We've been talking about teams having just more than one superstar. Alpha 7 is looking like they have a deep roster.
I did also like how Mafioso was kind of off towards the side there, right? On the other side of the road. The information he gains, even while being knocked, is so good for Cinetexa to be able to capitalize off that position, take home the victory, and get them one step closer to that $1.5 million. Now, I'm not going to be too harsh here.
Oh, no.
4 rivals you had as a team to watch, right? How did they do?
I mean, it was Alpha 7. I mean, they're too good. Come on. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the main issue that we have with 4 rivals. They get close to a potential good position, and then I have the impression they stress in some way, shape, or form, and they just unfortunately have a complete blunder. Happen once again here versus Alpha 7, and they are a team that needs to have structure. You give them structure, they could potentially get wins, but it's just not happening yet.
I mean, we've seen good things out of them, to be fair, but they were always that team that couldn't close out matches, and when you want to be the top of the table, right, you have to be able to close out matches. You can't be really good at placements. You can't be just really good at eliminations. You have to have that great marriage. You got to get down that one knee, pop the ring on, pop the question, and be able to pull that off if you want to be able to win $1.5 million. But a team who wants to win $1.5 million is actually going to be Stalwart Esports. Start off the day strong, and luckily for us, we do have an interview coming up with them in just a second.
Hello from Singapore, the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, of course, the grand finals. With me now from Stalwart Esports. Hello, Action, right here. Nice to see you. Hello, hello. And we've got, of course, coach and translator and manager here. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. A few quick questions, a quick fire round. You guys have been very competitive in the first 2 games. How did you prepare for the grand finals?
Эхний 2 тоглолт маш мундаг байлаа. Тэгээд Grand Final юу бэлдсэн бэ?
Ер нь бол тоглолтынхаа юу тактикийг бол ер нь хэлж болохгүй. Тэгээд бид нар энэ тэмцээн дээр ер нь хамаг чадхаараа үзээд заавал чемпион болохыг гэж байна.
Okay, he say he not want to tell the tactic of our game.
Of course.
But he say we can try our best for coming to champion.
Now, you guys also played well in the league stage. So in your opinion, what's the biggest difference between the grand finals and the league stage so far?
Okay, so league stage-ийн тоглолт нь одоо ингээд league stage grand final хоёрын тоглолтын ялгаа нь юунд байна гинэ?
League stage-ийн тоглолт grand final-ын тоглолт нь ер нь бол grand final нь дэлхийн бүх шилдэгүүд цугласан гэж хэлж болно доо.
He say is different because grand final is all the team in the world 21 the best team in the world.
Mm.
So league stage is only for East team, right?
Right.
And this is the biggest difference.
That's right. Of course, the sizing of the teams. Now, when it comes to the championship, who do you think is your biggest competitor? I'd love to know as well.
Okay. Өөрөө одоо энэ тэмцээний хамгийн том өрсөлдөгч нь юу вэ гинэ?
Хамгийн том өрсөлдөгч гэвэл бид нар өөрсдөө л юм уу да. Өөрсдөө даваад энэ тэмцээнд авраг болоод гэртээ бахархалтайгаар арихыг хүсэж байна ер нь л.
He say all team is the best, all team is good, but the real adversary for us is ourselves.
You gotta beat yourself.
Because in the game we can have so many error, but this is for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because you can have so many error, and if we don't have some error, it's good, and we can take the trophy of PMGC and go home.
That's right. Hey, all the best. And thank you for being here. Thank you very much. Let's say a big hello and goodbye from Singapore. Thank you.
Hello, and hopefully not goodbye for too long here. Great to hear from them, actually, talking to Action and who their biggest opponent was themselves.
That's deep.
That is deep. I know. So, and you brought this up when we were watching the interview, Max, because you did reach out to them and they told you it was a different team, right, originally?
Yeah, they said it was Alpha 7 because of their main drop on boot camp. We could talk about that for absolute ages. The DPS fights and everything is insane. Like, you definitely want to look out for that Sunhawk game. But yeah, Alpha 7 is also their big competitor from the Western side.
But
and
maybe.
Could happen.
Maybe after they see Alpha 7 play, they're like, they're not that big of a deal. Eh?
Nah, they're gonna drop each other.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see if they're gonna drop each other in just a few moments. We're gonna head to a short break here and get things ready for our third match of the day.
Every second that I breathe is going down in history. We are victorious, can't stop me. Maybe today we'll fight our best, show you the way if you can handle it. You follow me.
PMGC 2021 Grand Finals.
Grand finals.
To glory.
And we are back. We told you it wasn't going to be too long of a break, and it wasn't indeed. And we're ready to get into our next match of the day as things are to get very moist on...
I love that word.
He loves the word. It used to freak him out, but he loves it now. I'm glad to hear that, Max. But things are going to get really interesting when we get over to Sandhawk for multiple reasons, right? We have potential hot drops.
Yep.
But also, if we look back on East, we've had so many, or two teams in particular, be so consistent in how they play, but also their style. Enigma Galaxy, Maroof, Heal in the blue. Infinity just plays top 3 every time, because that's what they seem to always do.
Yeah, it's the Infinity playstyle coming in onto this one, right? But the one we want to talk about especially is going to be that hot drop.
Yes.
That hot drop is going to be insane. It's going to be going through in boot camp. It's going to be Alpha 7. It's going to be Star Wars. Two teams that currently both got a win right now, and they're going to fight it out super early in that game. And in the scrims, they made it happen. It got close a lot of the times. Who's going to come out on top? I don't know right now.
Which gun was it? Which gun was it?
It was the
that up?
DBS.
Yes.
You know it. It's DBS
my.
fight in boot camp. Hell yeah. That's all.
I mean, the thing is, right? Do you legitimately think we're gonna have a hot drop though?
Yes.
Yes.
But the thing is, why would you risk something like that again with so few matches to be played? And you know, if you lose that one match, or you go out early in that one match, you could be ruining your chance to win $1.5 million. So
Yeah.
Okay, so with Alpha 7, that's pretty much their main Sandhawk gameplay that we have seen for all year. I don't think I've ever seen him drop anywhere that is not Sandhawk. And I mean Bootcamp and Sandhawk. And the reason why I say that is because they love to go towards the mountain a little bit south of Bootcamp, and they just like to gatekeep and dominate that area.
Yeah, it's a really good position to go for, but that's the thing. There's a clear opportunity for Stalwart to do a very similar rotation also to get access to that high ground hilltop. Just go Trifecta. I mean, it was Reject who used to play that position every single time in Sandhawk, and they would have a good amount of success in that position. Trifecta is not contested right now. If this fight goes wrong for one of these two teams and you want to try and catch up on your next 2 Sandhawk games, Trifecta is a go-to area for one of these 2 teams.
the thing is for me is that this is the least played map.
Yep.
Least played Battleground in the entire event. You play it 3 times throughout these days. Being one of those teams who can be consistent and pick up points so consistently for me is like such a really cool thing to see. Typically you'll see teams, I mean, Erangel is the most played map, period. Every team should generally have a good understanding, but for some reason for me, in my head, Infinity always have it figured out. And I don't think we even figured out what the reason was, but they're always so consistent on a map that is coined as being the most difficult and RNG map out there.
Yeah, I think the main reason why you see this team perform so well is every single one of their players is able to frag out big time, and having 4 players that have that big fragging potential in a fight where you could have third parties happening, you need to all have that potential, even if you're an IGL, or even if you're support. That fragging potential is actually huge and is what enabled them to get these, as you mentioned earlier, right, Jason, those top 3 finishes very consistently. So I think that's the reason for their success, but you have other teams from the Western side that have that fragging potential, so it's not going to be all that easy here.
And one of those teams is actually going to be SGG. So during our West League, we had a lot of encounters in regards to hot drops between SGG and Ghost Gaming. Ghost Gaming is nowhere to be seen here, right? So now SGG is going to have that extra time. Oh my.
Damn.
Now SGG, damn son. Now SGG is just going to have that extra time to be able to loot, to be able to figure out which way they're going to be rotating. And I think it's going to play in their favor. If we do get somewhat of a northeast circle, it's going to favor them big time.
Okay, well, speaking of favoring you, it can help you guys improve your own gameplay. The OnePlus 9 Pro, you guys can pick up that one with its ultra smooth gaming at 90 FPS. It can help take you to the next level, and you never have to settle when using OnePlus. That's how I improve my gameplay. If Max was using that phone, he probably would have qualified for PMCO. Yeah, you know I had to bring it up. Come on, every PUBG Mobile event, it's literally in my contract. I'm allowed to rip on Max for not qualifying for PMCO.
Yeah, I tried. Okay,
You did try.
The bots were too good.
To be fair, the reason I won't play against Max is because I don't want to lose to him, because then I lose to someone who could even qualify for PMCO.
Ooh. Yeah.
Might not wait. I need to look through. Okay, we're starting early. Okay, they're ripping in, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, of course, is how it's gonna go.
I
Help
didn't
me
even
out,
try.
Seven, please.
No, I didn't even try. Listen, I am the #1 bot in PUBG Mobile, okay? Didn't even try.
Oh, that was you in PMCO. Okay.
Okay. Also, shout out to Fairmont Singapore for catering with the highest degree of pampering here at PMGC. And really quick, we have to get into our teams to watch as well, because this for us, I think, is a really interesting one because we're really diverse in our selections here. I'll start things off. I went with the Infinity. As kind of mentioned before, this team has been kind of the most consistent team I've ever seen in PUBG Mobile history on Sandhawk, the most difficult battleground out there. So that for me is why they're a team to watch. If they want to place top 3, if they want to place first overall in the event, I feel like they need to have those performances, those strong performances on Sandhawk. Max?
That's a big surprise. I think he never picked Infinity in like the history
Never
of PUBG
have.
Mobile.
First time.
He's
First
never
time.
done that. No, I'm going to go with Enigma Galaxy because team to watch, not team to win. So I think that they can go well. If Ralph is in the blue, you know he's going to get second place. So it's going to be Enigma Galaxy.
That's important, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you can be so consistent, even just teaming off
They got
the
2
blue
second
to get
places.
points, that's big.
Yeah.
Who do you got, 7?
It's going to be a big surprise. It's actually going to be Alpha 6. I'm just kidding. It's going to be Alpha 7. I mean, I have to go with them because if they do end up winning that engagement, right, they're more than likely going to end up losing some players. I would love to see how they're going to adjust to that. Are they going to continue to be aggressive if they do lose some players, or are they just going to continue to play the way they usually play Sandhawk?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously the pride and the hopes of West, but it's time to hop into our next match of the day. So let's throw it back over to our commentators here for the last time of the day. We got Mustache Dave and Necro.
Yo, Maxman. Hey, Maxman, what are you taking notes on, man? What you writing down? Let me know. Game number 3, Sandhawk, of course, 7 representing Alpha 7. That's a big if for me, Necro. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we are predicting a Alpha 7 Stalwart Esports boot camp clash here. That's huge if they do pull it off.
Oh, no, that's what I call the Clash of the Alpha Titans, dude. And this is what I'm really going to be eyeing out for. Another drop clash that is anticipated coming inside. Without a doubt, has to be Godlike and Nova. Now, both of them like to drop in Pine Ants. Are they going to be doing the same this time? That's the question.
Oh, man, there's a lot of what ifs. We're going to find out right here. But talk about finding out. We got some early game action for Rivals right here. They are squaring up. Looks like they got a duo just right in the thick of it. This is near Ruins, up there on that west side of the circle shift.
Oh, man, here we go. Another circle kind of like just tilted down south. It's just a south day today, Dave. I don't know what's going on. All these circles just kind of tilted down south. Take C, able to make it alive on a sliver of health. Gotta thank his gods for sure for that. Thank his, like, stars. Without a doubt. Tixie still alive in the game. Somehow. And now if you're down 1 gaming and 4 rivals, these two teams clashing against each other.
Fabian back there trying to group up with their teammates. Could really play spoiler for the duo of 4 rivals, in my opinion. If Daewon could just make sure to play this one slow and keep the focus on them and really spring up with that surprise factor. Daewon, the most consistent team on Sandhawk when we're looking at the East League. So this is their map. They know it front and back. Let's see what will happen. 4 rivals looking to play spoiler to that.
Ooh, 4 rivals. That's a beautiful split for sure. If the man who's kind of distanced himself from the rest of the pack, who also has a little bit of high ground, if he's able to find that initial knock on the Dominant Gaming, that can change quite a lot of things. But guess what? Who finds the initial knock? It's Dominant Gaming knocking on the doors of 4 rivals. And there's a huge split for 4 rivals as well. That's quite a questionable. Walt's outside the window, and he gets caught this time, and Junie's the man who will take care of him.
Yeah, and we saw it play out exactly how we expected. Fabian from behind was able to group up with their teammates, apply that additional pressure from the alternate angle. But look at this. Clutch got UMP in hand, trying to square up with the Duke Master, the Duke and Machine with the Vector. Looks like Clutch Guard going for a nice little rotate, trying to catch an off angle here onto the Duke and Machine, who has just stayed in the corner of the compound. Looks like Clutch God might be opting to safely retract back to their teammates here, because we saw last game got like a little rough on the rotations. We saw him lost 2 on that rotate. I have to assume they're not trying to do the same thing here.
Yeah, Clutch God indeed taking things a little safe. And so you mentioned Duke and Machine inside the house. Duke and Machine is always one of those teams. He's kind of like the silent assassin. He just likes to play as quiet as possible in these kind of moments and just wait for the opponent to make any kind of mistake. And when they do, he just strikes in.
Like, talking about mistakes, that's not a lot of games, because the reason I say that's not a lot of games, because after 16 games, there's going to be one team walking away with $1.5 million US dollars. So every single point counts. And look at this little substitution action here.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be huge, right? They're trying to change things out, trying some new things out over here. substitution as well, just to see how things are going to be changing out for that team. But yeah, Godlike, it seems like, again, a casualty on their side. Not a good sign. Definitely going to be a sign of worry for Godlike, and I do want to see how they're going to be bouncing back from this, because the position they have right now is definitely not that great.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying. Ooh,
Oh, there we
okay,
go.
okay, that's
Oh.
exactly what was needed. A nice little knock there across the channel, because Jonathan is on the opposite end of this bridge looking to make a play. So looks like Neo and crew, the duo, trying to keep the eyes on them, right? Applying that pressure from that east side of the bridge. But look at this, Jonathan. Jonathan
no.
looking to make
Oh,
a
no.
solo play with the wide rotate.
There we go.
Jonathan, look! Oh! Talk about the snakes of Sandhawk. Talk about the snakes on Sandhawk. And ladies and gentlemen, we hit 1 million viewers. So shout out to you viewers out there putting in the work here, making this event a amazing moment. But back into the game. Jonathan, what happened? Jonathan, no, not what you want to see.
Indeed, not what you want to see, Jonathan. Wanted to make some insane play happen, but just did not expect a snake in the grass. And well, this is where Fenerbahce decided to bounce back inside this fight. And Godlike now left with, again, only 2 players to work with. Z-God going to be making the call to back off.
So Godlike, if I'm them right now, I want to keep the points flowing. I want to keep things going. Pull off this fight. Avoid all fights possible here this game. They're in a position that they can actually pull back. They could use the southern part of this zone to their advantage because nobody's back there, and they could swim. They can go to cave, maybe get some loot, maybe relax, catch their breath in cave. Docks are also open. Of course, they don't know that, but with some proper scouting, they might be able to spot that one out. So if I'm Godlike, try to avoid the fights here. Keep your duo alive. And if there was a map, Necro, and I think Jason touched on this a little bit talking about RNG, I'm the opposite. I don't think Sandhawk is that RNG, right? Hear me out. Necro, hear me out.
I'll hear you.
The reason I'm bringing this up, I don't think Sandhawk is that RNG because I've seen multiple times players able to hit those heals. If you know how to heal on Sandhawk and you get all the meds, top 5, 3rd place,
Easy.
even 2nd place, 1000% doable. So I put it out there. I might get a lot of heat from that. I don't know. Feel free to add to it, or feel free to be like, you're crazy, Dave. Hey, it's in your court. It's in your court. But I'm bringing that up because Godlike, they can implement that strategy. They can hunt down all the meds. They can avoid all the fights and just heal or placement points here this game.
I do understand, but I'm going to add on to it after a little bit, because we did see Nova taking a couple of shots back, Paraboy, probably back down to the cover. Now, yeah, touching up on the point that you made, you think Sandhawk isn't really that RNG. Honestly, I'm with Jason over here. I really do think Sandhawk does bring quite a lot of RNG. And the reason why I'm saying that, now, if you keep the healing aspect aside of the map, I feel like even in the gunfights,
Sandhawk's all about healing. Sandhawk's all about dude. You just ripped my point apart right there. The only reason I'm saying that is because you can heal on Sandhawk.
But it's like most of the things are going to be going with the gunplay, right? Most of the things are going to be going how you're going to be rotating inside the zone. And just like what happened with Jonathan, you're going to be seeing a lot of snakes in Sandhawk. And this also means this brings kind of like RNG inside. And if you talk about the zone shifts, they're also quite drastic on the map of Sandhawk. That means if a zone is favoring a certain kind of team, if they're able to play it out to perfection, that has to be the team to pretty much take it. And Sandhawk, this is what it's really known for.
Hey, I hard disagree still. No RNG if you know how to hit them heals, man. No RNG. Oh, okay. Nice little replay right there from last game. Just in case you forgot. That is savage. If you get caught slipping, we will replay it. And we caught right there Navi with the boat tape. My man, Navi looking to get into the zone here. Down 1, we saw them. They lost 1 early on, but they did pick up 2 elim points. And I'm touching back onto them because they were the most consistent team when we look at Sandhawk performance-wise from the East League.
I do understand. Yeah, they were really consistent, Navi. But again, in the final days, I feel like the last day was where Navi decided to really like bounce back, and that's where they got like themselves second place in the overall rankings. This proves quite a lot about Navi. This speaks quite a lot about Navi as well. But if we talk about the Super Weekend days, Navi did not really deliver as expected. But in the finals, they definitely did quite well. As I mentioned, they got second place. But hold on. Paraboy strikes in. He's the silent assassin this time. Forrest goes down from Dam 1 Gaming, or Damson.
Could this be the start of their Paraboy show? You know, Paraboy, one of the best players, hands down, in the game. I'm sure a lot of people can agree with me. Nova Esports looking to really defend their title here. Paraboy, nice little knock right there with the UMP. Panam, they are going to keep that to themselves. So they're just going to hold it down for the time being and hope that Papa Blue continues to bless that. Looking for the solid placement points. Stalwart Esports also north of that current position. So we might have two Titans here clash very shortly. But besides that, it's a lot of individual plays here, a lot of individual knocks erupting all over the map.
And just to touch up on that RNG factor in Sonic as well, Dave.
Oh, he's coming back to it.
This is where I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
He's
16 teams in the game. 16 teams in the game. One player from each team just doing a heal battle. That means he's going to come down to RNG hoping that maybe praying to your God, that hoping that, okay, I'm going to get top 5. Just hoping. This means it's a RNG somewhere down the line, right? You're just hoping. All it comes down to is just a little hope. That means
ain't no
it
hope.
is RNG. It is a part
no
of RNG
if
factor.
you know how to hit the heals, man.
Okay.
I've seen it too many times. I've seen a team just go out, look for the heals, pass it off to one player. They've been practicing the heal strat for a whole year on Sandhawk. So I'm just saying, RNG, I took that. I threw it out the window on Sandhawk. And we are going to be playing only 3 Sandhawks. Sandhawk will make up 17% of the map pool here for PUBG Mobile Global Championship Grand Finals. So I feel like this map in particular can really change the tides for certain teams that haven't been performing that well. And I believe they can do that by healing for points. I'm sticking by it, Necro. You can't change my mind, man.
Okay, dude. You know what?
You can't.
I'm just gonna give up. I'm giving up.
Can't.
I'm giving up. I'm just gonna let the viewers decide, and I'm just gonna let the analyst desk decide who are they gonna be favoring in this kind of a little debate that we're having. But yeah, Fenerbahce in the sights of Nextruya. Nox Bomb kind of separated out, and he's also knocked out. Is the res gonna be possible? That's the question. If the res is not possible, Nox Bomb being taken out, that means Fenerbahce only left with 2 players to work with. And in the map of Sandhawk, it's going to be quite tough to make it out alive.
One last thing to mention about that. If we see a player heal this game, get solid placement points, point proven. Easy as that. I'm going to leave it at that. We'll see what happens. That's how it works. We'll see what happens late game. If we see 1 or 2 players healing and they go from like a 10th place to a 3rd place, I'm dropping the mic. I'm walking away, and you owe me a sorry in the DMs. All right? I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. So getting back into the game, though, looks like Gala, they did swim to the docks. They did get some loot, and then they swam right back to Camp Charlie here. So we're waiting to see where this next zone goes. Look at the Infinity, though, all the way up there. They're in there.
Look at 628 as well, just taking their time in rotating inside the zone, all the way from the left side. They do not want any kind of smoke with any teams. Just playing things as safe as possible, playing for their lives. Nextruya just trying to inflict some pain on Fenerbahce. I mean, Fenerbahce are already crumbling down. They're on their knees. But Nextruya just want to wipe them out of existence.
Hopefully not too soon. 16 teams alive still on this Sandhawk match. 13 minutes deep. So you play for 13 minutes. You get taken out right here, right now. 0 placement points. Like, that is rough. And when we get past the mid to late game, things are going to erupt. Paraboy, driving by the coop. Still alive. Able to avoid those sightlines by a smidge and group up with their teammates.
Nextruya still looking pretty good in the position they found themselves in. All 4 players alive. Also have a decent compound to work with. Now, what I'm really worried for over here is going to be Fenerbahce. And somewhere down the line in the future, if the circle moves pretty close to Fenerbahce, there's no way in hell Fenerbahce aren't getting charged on. And to hold the charge, to hold down the fort, Fenerbahce just doesn't have the man number. So this is where a little bit of struggle is going to be seen from the side of Fenerbahce. And I do want to see, are they going to be going for that sneaky play? This is what Duke Machine is really known for. Or are Fenerbahce going to be trying to fight back? But I'm going to hold on because Stalwart Esports, they might just be caught out in the open.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Fenerbahce point. And kind of looking at Alpha 7 here, I'm somewhat surprised that Mafioso did take those shots because looking back at Sandhawk, Alpha 7, their team, they like to lay down the trap on Sandhawk. And what I mean by that is they snake it out. They always have one player scouting the enemy, and they wait for the enemy to get past the initial front liner, and then they all pop up and hit them from all angles. So I'm a little surprised here that Mafioso did decide to kind of spoil that element of surprise here. But we shall see if it will pay off still, because Stalwart Esports are still going to be pressured out there on the edge of the play zone, and Papa Blue is slowly closing in right now.
Blue Zone, as you mentioned as well, slowly and steadily closing in. Godlike, it seems like for now they are settled inside Camp Charlie. Again, now the med strat that you really like, Dave, at this point, Godlike can definitely try and go for that if they have enough amount of meds.
We'll see. You keep bringing up the med strat, man. I'm telling you, I'm right. Don't worry about it. All right. So Order out here. Oh, we saw Order right there in the kill feed. So Stalwart Esports, Pika could really play spoiler because looks like Action going to be crawling up, and it looks like Action is going to be taking the attention of Mafioso, the one up there on the boulder. Just waiting to hit these shots. Oh, you know Action wants to take it.
Oh, of course he does.
You know
his name is Action. He's the man of action. And he wants all the action.
But look, the next zone pop. Next zone pop. So that's going to like change up this plan totally for Stalwart Esports, who were possibly looking to push uphill slowly and take the fight with A7 up there. But now all those teams in the north, they need to send it down south somehow and survive.
Talk about Godlike, though. They're going to be having a huge threat lingering on their head. Because now Fenerbahce, they as well, it seems like they're having a little bit of casualties on their name themselves, kind of stuck on the bridge. But I'm going to hold on to my word because Furious Gaming, this might just be a huge breakdown. And yes, it is. Finding one. Poppy Potro looking to find the other one. And I just like the trigger discipline from the side of Furious Gaming to let them settle inside the vehicle. And when they found the right moment to strike, they did.
Very questionable play from S2G. 4 squad mates. Four squad mates in a Ronnie. I know the next zone was somewhat shifted far from them here, but 4 squad mates in a Ronnie, they definitely open up themselves to getting exploded on the complete elim. But Poppy Potra right there, I believe getting 2 confirmed, so that was beautiful.
Oh man, fights happening all across the board, including another fight panning out between Infinity and Na'Vi. Another huge fight. Kitsune, the only man left alive in that fight, but for now, we need to cover this one. 6-8. Man being found. The other man's just inside the house, trying to play things a little safe, trying to play for his life. He's scared to his death. Enigma Galaxy, they have a huge high ground on top of the players of 6-8, Dave.
Oh, that you talked about Godlike. They continue to be favored in these zones. That is exactly what they need. The thing is, we still have 15 teams alive, so they are not out of the thick of it as of right now. Still 0 points if they get taken out right now. But Enigma Galaxy, hot off the press from last game, they almost got that winner chicken dinner. Regardless, you got second place with a ton of kills. Let's see if they can continue on with that momentum, because right now they're trying to keep out 6-8.
Ooh, and they are able to do so successfully. 6-8. Man being found, knocked out. Unfortunate outing for 6-8. Again, I do want to see what the final man is doing for 6-8. I'm pretty sure he might just be going for the heal battle. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he's all the way down south. It's Yu Yang. He's taking a sweet little time to rotate inside the zone. I'm pretty sure he's going to be meting himself back up. But Nova Paraboy being found. A huge man being taken out, and that's a legendary kill.
Yeah, it looks like Paraboy kind of decided to stay in the back lines and make sure that their teammates can securely reposition. We saw Order and Jimmy both in vehicles trying to get into this new circle. I believe Jimmy hugging that coastline, might even be snaking it right now, trying to avoid those sidelines from Nextria.
Oh,
so
no.
we shall see if they can continue to survive here. 12 teams to go. Yeah. Jimmy, I like that spot as long as they're not going to be spotted.
As you mentioned, Jimmy's spot definitely pretty good. But again, as long as he's not being spotted. And also at the same time, he will need to leave the spot anytime soon because the wall of death is moving right behind him. And he needs to make sure that he's making his mark inside the zone as quick as possible because next Ria will 100% would want to try and hold him off at bay. So Jimmy, he needs to make his mark inside the zone. Things are getting so intense this late in the game of Sandhawk. Infinity as well kind of locked out the zone. They're also taking a lot of damage from the wall of death. A lot of pressure on all these teams, man.
Looks like Jimmy's just going to watch that one elim point kind of slip through their fingers out there in the distance, but surviving is definitely better than that one elim point. So the Infinity out here, down here towards the south, trying to make their way on into the play zone. But first, they're going to be popping up, backstabbing D Xavier. At the end of the day, though, you got Next Ria kind of gatekeeping this whole side of the zone. I don't see any of these teams currently in the blue coming out on top with Next Ria still alive, pumping out those numbers. Currently with 8 elim points to by themselves. So Jimmy will not have any help if they do decide to expose their position. That's why I believe Jimmy's going to be trying to heal up right now. Currently 5 teams to go. Nigma Galaxy with 4. Next Rio with 4. Everybody else down to a solo.
Oh man, Jimmy needs to move inside the zone, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be exposed doing so. And yep, as I mentioned, Freak spots a little glimpse, and that's going to be enough. Jimmy being taken care of, no while at the game. Top 4 teams alive, Dave. And this is where it gets a little bit more intense. Next Ruya taking little shots onto themselves. It's a 4-on-4 situation in here.
Yeah, 4 teams to go. Next Rio, they are going to be tossing out some smokes to try to bridge that gap, get behind that hard cover of the boulder. Within grenade range, you're trying to connect these grenades onto Lord, who is doing the same exact thing. But look at over there on that off angle. Looks like Frozen trying to reposition. Freak is on their knees in a smoke. They're looking for that pickup. But this is going to be a solid 4v4 right here. And Moody, I love this spot. Talk about the intel that they're able to gather right there behind that boulder.
Oh man, but the pressure's on Next Ria without a doubt because Nigma Galaxy, they just seem that they have so much confidence, also a little bit of high ground to work with, and they're able to turn it into a victory without a doubt. And now it's just down to the Infinity and D Xavier, and they're just going for those heal battle. Okay, Dave, please. I do not want to hear it. I do not want to hear it, Dave. Just stay quiet, please.
Hey, talk about the heal. D Xavier, Infinity. That's the strat, man. You're down to a solo. Just heal it out for these placement points. And it pays off big time. I'm telling you. Look at the points. They're going to shift so much on the overall leaderboard because the 3rd place is 10 points and the 2nd place is 12 points. So this is exactly what these 2 squads needed here for the overall.
Oh man, exactly what these 2 squads needed. And finally,
dancing.
Finally, the final man is going to be falling down as well. And yeah, Nigma Galaxy, they just know, they're dancing at this point, just throwing a little bit of moves as well. You know, just yeah, this is the victory dance right there, ladies and gentlemen. And Nigma Galaxy are going to be your winners of the map of Sandhawk just in no time. He only has 2. Now the final first aid is going to be utilized.
Shout out the Freak right there. Nigma Galaxy, they got a 2nd place last game, a bunch of kills. They got 8 elim points this game, and a winner-winner chicken dinner that nets you 15 points. Nigma Galaxy, they are straight slaying it here so far on day number 1. And with 3 more matches to go here today, I have to assume the team, Nigma Galaxy, their mental, their confidence right now has to be at an all-time high.
Oh, it has to be, without a doubt. I'm in the zone as well, as you mentioned, favoring them, and this is the exact reason why they won. Again, I mean, Dave, here also kind of my point got proven, right? I mean, the zone got gifted Enigma Galaxy. All they needed to do was just make their mark in there. They did easily. All the teams that were outside the zone couldn't really make it inside the zone in time because there was just so many guys watching each other out. Enigma Galaxy were easily able to conquer that game of Sandhawk.
The thing is, I don't know how much you can say it was gifted because now this is two games in a row where they picked the position very early on, they held it down, and they rotated accordingly. And then they just ended up with 4 alive late game. Like, there's just too much luck out there to say, oh, they're being lucky, compared to like this is planned in advance, in my opinion. But regardless, we'll see what will happen in the next 3 matches. Necro, it was a phenomenal match of Sandhawk. Let's hear what the desk had to say. Will they rip me on my my med strap take? Let's see. Let's find out.
Mustache Dave, I can never rip you. Thank you two gentlemen for putting on a phenomenal cast, actually. Phenomenal match, phenomenal casting done by you two gentlemen. Enigma Galaxy being phenomenal over the course of this entire event so far. I don't know if it's just Mustache Dave and Necro luck, but Enigma Galaxy 7, I believe you said second place game 1, second place game 2, chicken dinner game 3. Is this the team with the region, as Max said, has been the most improved this last year, who's going to take home $1.5 million?
It definitely has. I mean, remember last year, PMGC, right? We had Zeus, came out of nowhere. This could be it with Enigma Galaxy as well. And not only just the second place, I'm also very impressed at the amount of Ilums they've been able to get. On the first match, they were only able to get just 1 Ilum, but then on the second match, they were able to improve so much and being able to get 9 Ilums. And in this last one, 8 Ilums as well. I think that improvement is huge.
Yeah, I think that was the main issue I had actually with Enigma Galaxy in the past, is they would not be fragging out, getting those eliminations consistently, but here they actually, I think they saw that circle at the end, like, wait, it actually came our way. Like, we're not used to this. We're actually in the circle in Sandhawk. What's going on right now?
Yeah.
They just fragged out. They made sure that Next Rio were not able to push in that game, but also Next Rio had a great game, but not able to make it happen
it was
because
like
that
11
push,
elims.
yeah, I think it was, but that push was so hard, and Next Rio just unfortunately got completely shut down by that push from Enigma. So Enigma played it so well at the end.
Yeah, and I think they kind of showed us some depth in their play, right? Every time on Sandhawk, I feel like they always played heel off. They always like, Aruf, take all of our first aids, go out the blue, we'll see you later, we'll see you next match. But they actually showed, hey, if they can play towards the zone, they can do fairly well. They get themselves 8 eliminations, so 23 points in total. They were second place going into this match. I guarantee you they're going to be first place coming out. But also, next Rio, as you mentioned, Max, 11 eliminations, but also Infinity. Again, showing how consistent they can be on a map like Sandhawk.
Yeah, they were playing on the eastern side of the bridge. Of course, that circle at the very end, I think it was phase 8 that went over to the western side in favor, of course, of Enigma Galaxy, as you saw in that game. So they just understood, okay, we're not going to make that cross happen because we're not going to have that third party. It's not going to work out. Give all the first aids over to Gothani and heal off. I think he had maybe like around 10 first aids towards the end of that game, but they were still trying to get those eliminations early on. Was a little bit lackluster in terms of eliminations, but still able to get a top 3. You talked about it earlier, right, Jason, how they can consistently make into the podium finish is because of their adaptability. No matter if they have to go aggressive or heal off, they are going to go for the right play 99% of the time.
And team that definitely got some points that needed it was for Rivals. They ended up, I believe, with 7 points, and it ended up being 6 out of those points were Ilum. So I think that's huge for them. It's definitely gonna kind of break off that downslope that they were on. And another thing, as we are seeing the MVP right here, Nihat, can we talk about Max? The hot drop that we were hyping up for the longest time, and just how correct Jason was as telling us it wasn't gonna happen.
I'm the analyst now.
You're gonna make me cry.
Let's be honest, right? There is that potential for hot drops, but realistically, it just shouldn't happen right now because it's too risky.
Yeah. It's their usual playstyle, which is normally drop boot camp, go to the southern position towards boot camp. They didn't go for that exact spot, but it's very close. They just cut away the middleman and just make sure we're just going to drop in that position, get the loot there, and remain in that position for a big portion of the game, which worked out pretty significantly at the start of it. But unfortunately, as you saw, they didn't make it to that top 3 podium finish, though. You talked about it, Jason. First place with 57 points going to be Enigma Galaxy. How consistent are these guys right now? This is not what I expected.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of what we saw to them. Remember, they had 47 points at the end of the very first Super Weekend. Out of 15 matches played, 47 points. They've already broken that in 3 matches here in the Grand Finals. I think that really is a testament to how much they've improved here since the league stage, but also more importantly, that they are a formidable force.
You know which other team I'm looking at here
Alpha
that I'm
7.
getting a little bit worried about? No.
Navi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Navi. And going back to the main reason what I was saying earlier is this is a team that's not able to carry momentum at all. And with the currently downslope that they're playing on, this is reminding me exactly how they started off West League. And we haven't even played some of the other Erangels. I am very interested to see, now that I know Alpha 7 is willing to adjust, now that I know they're willing to not put that ego. I mean, I guess 1.5 million will do that to you. But it's going to be interesting if Navi's going to be able to take advantage of that.
Also, shout out to Deke Xavier. I think we give him a lot of criticism in the finals of like maybe not deserving of that second place finish, but hey, they're currently in top 8 at the moment. And also, for you guys at home, not only are we talking about players getting rewards and getting victories, you guys have already pulled off a big victory here for the entire stream. We have hit the 1 million viewers. You can see the token, see the key at the very top of your screen. Head over to PUBGMobile.com/redeem to redeem those and get 1,200 tokens that you can use to buy yourself some lucky things. But anyways, we still, maybe tomorrow, maybe we'll bump it up. Maybe we'll do like, if we hit 2 million live viewers, Maxman will shave his head live on stream here. I got Clippers back at the hotel.
Yes.
Maybe we can make it happen.
Yes.
We're not going to do that.
Oh, no,
I'm all for
we
this.
can try to make it work. We'll see if we can talk to Tencent.
It's already
maybe bump
halfway
it up.
there. It's fine. Just got to get rid of the rest.
I mean,
Is that a yes? You're going to do it?
no, don't. I'm helping you. Don't
I'll think about
don't
it.
say anything. Yeah,
Oh,
there we go. That's
we'll
best.
think about
That's
it.
best. But what about some other teams? Maybe surprises, maybe letdowns. We were talking about Navi a little bit.
Fury's Gaming. I'm
Okay.
actually really surprised with this team. This is a team that relied heavily on their chicken dinners as they were able to back up. And I'm going back to the West right here, PMGC West. They had 2 chicken dinners, and those 2 chicken dinners with 19 ilms. They rely heavily on that. Remember, Max, we were talking about that. And right now, so far, I mean, they started off the day pretty well in that Erangel, but so far, nothing's working for them. And if they want to be that first place team, they just can't be relying on hopefully getting a chicken dinner and hopefully trying to get 19 ilms, because the way the lobby is right now, I don't see that happening.
I think they had, what was it, 46 eliminations in 3 games where they got the chicken dinners. You take those 3 games away, they don't qualify for this tournament, right? So we need to see more consistency. The games that are not happening, if they can get maybe 3-4 eliminations here and there, a few extra positioning points, that is the type of consistency that will allow you to potentially get closer. And when you get those big games, that's going to forward you up in potentially the top 3, top 5 positions. So we need to see a big step up from Furious, because right now they've just been a little bit too silent, in my opinion.
Well, I could throw another one at you. We're talking about a team who might not have qualified without those 2 big wins with eliminations. What about 628 from PEL, qualifying in the very last match of the entire event? They're currently bottom of the table at the moment.
Yeah, that was like the Yu Yang, but we haven't seen much of Yu Yang and all of his 628 so far, unfortunately. I'm going to pay close attention to them next game, because they just go out super early and they just get taken out outside of the circle. I'm going to look exactly what's going wrong, because it's just nothing's sticking right now.
Well, I bring them up also because we were talking over dinner yesterday. We were talking about like teams we expect to do well and teams that could be the underdog that could do well. And 628 was your choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to bash on you in whatsoever, but what I'm saying is like they're really having a hard time right now, which is surprising because teams from China are so strong. But you know what? We'll get into that a little bit later on. We do have a recap coming up at you here in just a few seconds. And again, I'm going to assume it's going to be our victors. I'm going to assume it's going to be Enigma Galaxy. And we'll see here in just a second if it's going to be happening.
I would love to see how they're going to be.
You went from really
all the
smiley
rotations.
to serious really fast.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see that rotation. Right? I was paying attention close to the hot drop at the start of the game. It didn't happen, and then he just kind of fell down from there. Also, STE and Alpha 7, I feel like maybe hot dropping each other might have been the play in that last one, because it didn't really actually end up working out for them. Oh man, you got me.
We saw you real
You
high there
guys
for a
got me.
second.
I was hoping. I was ready for that recap. It didn't happen, Jason.
Get off that box. We know now.
Hey.
We know it's there. No, we're going to be looking towards the late game circles, and this is actually a circle that's pretty tricky to play, I would say, because here's just a full commit. Or we go to the eastern side, or you go to the western side, and depending on where the circle goes, you have a very big chance of confirming that win. And you're looking at this, you're thinking that there's no way it's going to go to the western side, right? The odds are it's going to go towards Quarry, it's going to go towards
You wanted to see Cave.
the cave position, which I love those cave finishes. Didn't quite happen this time, and this is the moment Enigma Galaxy were like, wait, are we 4 men alive in circle at this stage of the game? That just doesn't happen, and they just had all the teams come their way and just pick it up one by one as they were going to the market in the morning.
But they played it so well right there. They decided to stay outside the circle. They decided to just wait and see how some of the other teams were playing. I mean, they waited perfectly for Next Ria. I was actually surprised. Next Ria had 4 players themselves. All of a sudden, I blink and they're gone.
Yep.
In a matter of just 1 second, Max.
Yeah, though next rare, if you want to say one thing that was really strong from them, they went for a fantastic push onto Fined Batches. I think we're holding a big portion of that bridge, so they knew they had to commit to that position. They held it well. They made sure that, for example, Infinity could not make that cross happen, but when it came to pushing on a position that was already locked down by Enigma Galaxy, they had that little high ground position, that little hilltop. In third-person mode, you know that position is going to be even more valuable, and they could not make things, make ends reach at the very end. So yeah, Enigma Galaxy able to make it as a 4-man, get themselves a win with 8 eliminations on top of that. If they can make this happen on other maps, maps too. They already got themselves 2 second places. If they can get wins on now Miramar and Erangel, I'm going to be pumped for the Arabic team because they might be able to make it in first place here.
I can definitely see it happening. We're not seeing it here, but during this game, I was looking at Godlike. Remember how I was talking about that was the team that was going to rotate in late. They got blessed with this circle, but it seemed like they just weren't able to take advantage of it. They did only have 2 players, as we saw Jonathan being able to just kind of get caught as they were rotating. But I was hoping we would be able to see a little bit more. It seemed that they just, once again, they waited too late to be able to position themselves for the next circle. So hopefully they'll be able to acknowledge that and start changing it.
Oh, I can really see the POV here coming out. That spread from Nigma Galaxy just made to make sure there was no angles from which next Rare could actually enter from. That is good. They went for, I think that was a 1-2-1. Yeah, there was a 1-2-1, and they were just making sure they had all of that position locked down and then got turning, trying to make it in. The emotes, of course, in class because you know that was in the back.
It's so funny because normally the coin or the foot, the shoes on the other foot, the coins flip in the other hand. I don't remember the saying. Usually it's like Infinity who's like in the zone waiting to finish off the game, and Enigma Galaxy are out there healing. But this time it was the Infinity out there healing, and Enigma Galaxy just sit there dancing, waiting for their victory, waiting for that chicken dinner, and obviously waiting to potentially take home $1.5 million. But we still have so many matches to come, right? We're only at the halfway point of the day. It's 6 matches a day until we do have our victor across 3 days, and we're gonna find some other teams to step up. I feel like, yes, we're seeing some consistency at the top. We've seen Infinity do relatively well. We've seen Enigma Galaxy do relatively well. Alpha 7 as well. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, things will be shifted up.
Yes.
Not because I know the script, not because I know what's going to happen, because
You read it again?
I did read it again.
You read it again.
I learned how to read. But it's more about there's still so many good teams. And there's still so much action to happen. But it's coming up after a short break. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes before we get into our 4th match.
Announcing the prize pool later, so look out for that announcement. Another important step for PUBG Mobile esports soon. So that's all we have for now. Let's go back to the thrilling matches of PMGC 2021 Grand Finals. A time to enjoy. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah!
I don't know about you guys, but Jane qualified for PMCO. Maybe I could actually be decent at the game if I pick myself up one of those. Max, this is...
I'm sorry. I'm breaking everything. It's cool.
This is why we can't have you in the middle. We can't have you near anything because
I'll go
you're
in
just
the
going to
back,
break it. Yeah, he's going to go back behind the trophy to hide. So Singtel for providing PMGC with its amazing high-speed network as well over in Singapore. They were helping provide everything we need here at PMGC to make this all possible. But gentlemen, we're about coming into they've ever played in their careers. I mean, playing in West obviously really good teams there as well. But now you're playing against like the Chinese teams, the Eastern teams. Things become much more difficult, and for them, maybe day one won't be their jam, but maybe the time they have between day one and day two to recoup, figure some things out, maybe they will have a big step up in day two.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying things out. They even use the sub, right? They use they're subbing players in and out, so they're actually trying to find what sticks potentially. So they're trying things, maybe use rotations, their macro, their micro. So they're going to try and adapt, right? You still got 2 more days of play after this, but the thing is, one bad day could be already your chances of being in the top 3 podium already out of order. So you need to have a big step up in day 2 and day 3 here.
Something that a lot of West teams are starting to notice, and something that I noticed in the last game too, is you cannot miss your shots. And I'm going to call out Mafioso.
It's going to be him here.
And you know, Jason's completely right. If there's anyone who knows about height advantages, it is 7. With that box, it gives him unparalleled power on that desk. He's looking good. I like the Furious Gaming pick. You know, it wouldn't be first pick, but looking at West overall, John, honestly, they were a cool for me. And I think that they have some potential, just haven't seen too much of it yet. So maybe here in Erangel, it's time. Maybe with the blessing of 7. Who knows?
Absolutely. You know what I want to see? I want to see a desk, Jason, Blair, and 7. That's what I want to see. I think that would be great fun.
What, just the green giant and 2 hobbits?
I don't think... Oh dear. Oh, absolutely. I would greatly enjoy that. I think that would be a great time. But I'll tell you what else is a great time. This playing path, very central, pretty kind to everybody on this Erangel drop. I mean, we did have that sort of melee circle last time. It was cruel. We'll see a little bit kinder times this time.
Yeah, people didn't like that. And I think one team that played that out pretty well, and I'm going to give them credit for it, was Down One Gaming. You know, they head down to Cliffside, picked off Shaq, and then got a really nice squad wipe. Used that ability and that time to cross the actual river between Sosnovka, well, more like the channel between Sosnovka and the main island, and got on. Obviously, it's not ideal, but I think we were discussing this, John, and you made a really good point and said that, you know, it was the right play in the moment. Unfortunately, the right play doesn't always result in a win, unfortunately, but I do think Down One's still making those right plays. However, their overall caliber of team fighters in this lobby has been elevated a lot. Just having Western here, we know West is an aggressive region overall. Whenever I've actually casted or watched games from the West, there's usually eliminations going on in the first minute most of the time. We're seeing that a lot more frequently here in the PMGC Grand Finals that we didn't see in East League.
Yeah, and so maybe it's being a little bit forced onto those Eastern teams, and the question is, can they adapt to that? Can they change around it? But for now, I mean, Enigma Galaxy repping the East fairly strong, I have to say. I mean, their points total great. We had a couple of criticisms to how they've gotten those points, but you can't argue with the results.
Yeah, exactly. And just how beautiful this PMG Scar skid is. Ooh. You know, the circles have also been equally beautiful coming through for the guys at Enigma Galaxy. You can see that in just that stat total. We actually over on the desk, in which case a lot of the placement points is the grand majority of the amount of overall rankings that they've been able to put in here, John. You know, their eliminations aren't too high. We saw that over on Miramar with that crazy southern shift down towards the coast side, where they practically just stayed in that shack, in that compound the entire time. But I do think that that play means a whole lot just in terms of the game there. I think when you look at it, like, not being able to win that game says a lot about Enigma Galaxy. Now, they're a team that, yes, I'm still a fan of, and I love the way they play Sandhawk, and finally they come away with the first place rather than the second place there, but still there are things that are wrong with this team. Not to say that right now that first place isn't deserved. A lot of the games they have played correctly, second into a first, it's nothing to shake your head at, really.
So what you're saying is, if you were to get those PMGC player cards You wouldn't be necessarily choosing Enigma Galaxy at this point. You would summon maybe some of the other PUBG Mobile teams to collect them, to go and win some of your battles.
Yeah, obviously, what I'd say is I'd put Ralph in defense mode, and I would put Top in attack mode. That's the way it would go around, honestly. But I do think I would probably summon Ralph. That guy is a genius of Sandhawk. He really has the numbers, the strats all worked out. Mainly the numbers in terms of the first aid kits that he's usually holding. But, you know, that is something that we'll leave for another day. We do have a total of 1 million viewers watching right now. So thank you so much to everyone at home. And yes, it is a big wow, John. Wow to you guys. Honestly, go redeem your tokens. You deserve them. Get yourself some great rewards, and maybe there'll be some more rewards throughout the entirety of this tournament. But you'll have to watch out for that, because we're still watching out for that grand prize pool being announced for 2020. Which we're all excited for, but there is that 1.5 million on the line. Now for the PMGC Grand Finals.
God, do you know what? All the prize pool I need is James's little dances at the end of those segments. I absolutely love. I live for that. It's so good.
We do, and like Jason said, he looks like he's been working out. You know, he's been in the gym. Yeah. You know, his moves were fluid this time around. He looked good. And yeah, that dance really was the cherry on the top of the cake there. We love to see it. Nova, Jimmy. Drops down. We'll just be sitting over by Gatka side. They have this 2-2 split going on. It's fairly okay. There's not really a lot of players around their location. I think the most
as we saw from Reject, so it might make the Infinities games a little bit easier here on Omega.
Still, S2G, very, very spiky opponents. They're extremely hot-headed team, honestly, and not in a bad way either. I think when they come into a fight, they definitely fight with passion. And I think that's the main thing that we can take away from S2G, is that some of their team fighting ability is extremely strong. Just taking a look at some of the West that I was able to pick up on, and for me, I think S2G is a team that can get towards the top of the lobby. Fortunately, they're lagging behind a little bit. And in a 3-day stint, you really want to start off strong, which is why it's so dangerous letting Nick unless you get towards the top here, when this team really does rely on those steady and consistent points, especially from Sandhawk. They do it well on Erangel and now also on Miramar, and that's terrible.
Variance as well, right? It's likely that they're going to see some 1, 2, 3 point games over the course of